Day. Good morning, good morning. Let's check it out. These lefties are tripping.
We got to talk about voter ID because, of course, Democrats, they are absolutely losing their minds. And this first clip that I want to show you is an absolutely hilarious clip that I think you're going to get a good chuckle out of. So put your water down. Nobody destroying their phone or their TV remote or anything like that. So don't drink any water. You might spit it out because you're laughing. Check it out.
Good. How are you? Are you the shop owner?
Yes.
I have some terrible news. It looks like your certificate for the shop, it's actually expired.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, it expired. And
Good morning, good morning.
$500 today to make sure that you can still have the shop going.
Who are you?
I'm Javante. I'm with the Illinois State Licensing Board.
Can I have the ID?
Excuse me, bigot? Did you just ask a black man for his ID?
You're not black.
I was assigned white skin pigmentation at birth.
Check this
by
out.
My parents' bigoted doctor, but I identify as African American. You can ask.
We got to talk about voter ID because, of course, Democrats, they are absolutely losing their mind.
Right, they saying as black people, we can't get no IDs. That makes no sense. We got like $1,000 iPhones out here. iPhones. I'm pretty sure you need an iPhone. I mean, an ID to get an iPhone. I'm pretty sure you need an ID to get an iPhone. What's wrong with these people?
And so this first clip that I want to show you is an absolutely hilarious clip that I think you're going to get a good chuckle out of. So put your water down. I don't want anybody destroying their phone or their TV remote or anything like that. So don't drink any water. You might spit it out because you're laughing. Check it out.
Good morning, good morning.
Good. How are you? Are you the shop owner?
Yes.
I have some terrible news. It looks like your certificate for the shop, it's actually expired.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it expired, and we're going to need $500 today to make sure that you can still have the shop going.
Who are you?
I'm Javante. I'm with the Illinois State Licensing Board.
Can I have the ID?
Excuse me, bigot? Did you just ask a black man for his ID?
Oh, wow.
I was assigned white skin
Good morning,
pigmentation
Jigga.
at birth by my parents' bigoted doctor, but I identify as African American. You can't ask me for my ID. That's racist.
No, I'm not racist.
Those are your signs out there, aren't they? It says ID is racist.
This is different.
How is it different?
It's different because
IDs are not racist.
Did you ask me for my ID so you know who I am?
why are you? You need a license.
So you're asking me so you know who I am, right?
Yes.
Because an ID makes you feel more comfortable knowing I am who I say I am?
Yeah, because I have to know who are you.
Isn't that what they're doing at the voting booth?
Hello.
Yes.
Exactly. So how are IDs racist at the voting booth? You don't have an answer, do you? You just put up those signs just
Gotcha.
to put them up. You did?
Yes.
Good luck with that, buddy.
Hilarious. Hilarious. Good morning, good morning. Hilarious.
How dare
Good
you ask
morning.
me for my ID, you bigot? Only to double back and catch him in the trap. Only to double back and catch him in the trap. Actually, I posted something similar to that yesterday as a YouTube short. Shout out to Caitlin Bennett. Yeah, definitely go and check out. Was it my last YouTube short? I think it might have been low key my last YouTube short. Well, by the time you see this, I'll probably have posted another one. But at the time of recording, yeah, it's literally my last YouTube short. I titled it "This Is Embarrassing." So definitely go and check out that YouTube short. It's absolutely hilarious. It's a similar situation to what you just saw in this clip here because, of course, liberal logic, it just... It never makes any sense. Never makes any sense.
Never makes
with that
any
being
sense.
said, let's hop into what Hakeem Jeffries had to say.
Oh, that's some nasty stuff, man, about the kids. It's about that. The Epstein stuff.
You know, most voters agree with voter ID.
How you doing, Tony?
Now, I understand you don't support things like a passport, for example, but requiring basic ID in order to vote,
especially for
really
federal voting
a pew poll
in a federal election,
2 months
hell
ago
yeah.
showed 83% of Americans, including 71%
IDs,
of your fellow Democrats, support requiring an ID to vote. Why are they wrong?
I haven't said that they're wrong. We know that states are the ones who are empowered to conduct elections, and every state should be allowed to decide the best way to proceed to ensure that there's a free and fair election. Here in New York, there are, in fact, voter identification requirements. The question is that what Republicans are trying to do is to engage in clear and blatant voter suppression.
Now, I understand you don't support things like a passport, for example.
That make sense.
No, it's not.
So in New York, actually, I don't think that's true, but let's say that it is.
Yes,
in New York, where Democrats have won, there's voter ID laws. So what are you worried about, Hakeem? What are you worried about? Take a listen to what Chuck Schumer had to say, and of course, it's typical speech from Democrats, unfortunately. Check it out.
Jess, there's a new Pew Research poll that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
It's Jim Crow 2.0.
Get the fuck out of here.
Crow 2.0.
What up, user? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
They know it's true. What they're trying to do here is
IDs are not racist. I don't understand how they're saying that. They're still talking about that. It makes no sense.
From voting. For instance, if you change, you're a woman who got married and changed your last name, you won't be able to show ID and you'll be discriminated against. If you can't find a birth certificate or a proper ID, you'll be discriminated against. This is vicious and nasty. And I said to our Republican colleagues, it will not pass the Senate. You will not get a single Democratic vote in the Senate. We're not reviving Jim Crow all over the country. And when the American people hear what exactly it is doing and what its intent is doing, they're going to be against it as well.
Oh, Jim Crow 2.0. They always go with like the most extreme. These are Nazis. They always go with the most extreme.
Right. You saw me on the screen like the word racist many times, fascist many times. These people, as far as the leftists, mentally, they just go straight with it.
That is Jim Crow 2.0.
That's crazy. How is that Jim Crow 2.0? And everybody got IDs right now. We all got our IDs in our pockets right now or close by us. How is that racist? How we can't get our IDs? That's crazy.
They had to go through back then under Jim Crow. It's genuinely disrespectful.
It is.
Disrespectful. And also to think that we're going to be the ones that are affected by this is crazy. Why us? What, you think we can't get an ID? You think we can't prove who we are? What?
Jeffrey, good morning.
Are you like Kathy Hochul and think we're just stupid or something?
Right, and Jim Crow was under the Democrat, right, user?
Because y'all remember Kathy Hochul basically said that black kids are dumb because they don't know how to use computers. She quickly backtracked that one like the very next day. Yeah, I didn't mean it like that, guys. That's not exactly what she said, but she quickly backtracked. But nah, stand on it. That's what you said. That's what you meant. It's funny how that works, and I wonder how many Democrats are talking about that one. None. Exactly. Oh, man. Scott Jennings, take it away, brother.
I want to talk about something today that should not be controversial in a healthy democracy, and that is who gets to vote in American elections. Republicans in Congress are pushing legislation called the Save America Act. Remember that name, SAVE, because that's exactly what it does. It safeguards American voting eligibility by requiring voter ID and proof of citizenship to register in federal elections. That's it. There's no tricks here, no suppression, just verification. And for supporting this common sense idea, Democrats are completely melting down. Let's listen to Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the U.S. House, absolutely malfunction over the weekend on CNN. Here's cut 6.
83% of Americans, including 71% of your fellow Democrats, support the vote.
Talking points, false talking points from the Democrats. You've also heard Chuck Schumer repeatedly call voter ID Jim Crow 2.0, even though 3/4 of black voters think you should show an ID to vote. It's right there in the polling. None of them will answer the simplest question imaginable. Should only U.S. citizens vote in U.S. elections? Because once you say yes, their argument collapses. Here's the reality that
That's good.
Democrats
Usually
don't
if they
want to
ask booty,
admit.
they're good.
Voter ID is overwhelmingly
Vote the
popular
right
with
way.
the American people. Republicans, independents, Democrats, black voters, Hispanic voters, white voters, men, women. Everybody is for it. 83% of Americans want voter ID.
Yep, including black people. Yep, including folks that look like me. We all want it. Everybody. So why are Democrat politicians so against it? I think it may be because they know that we were right the whole time. Check out this news clip.
3,000 registered voters in Alabama just got booted from the state voter rolls. That's after the Secretary of State, Wes Allen, ordered the removal of all non-citizens who were registered. But how did non-citizens get registered in the first place? WAFF 48's Nick Ballinger spoke to the Secretary of State to get to the bottom of this story. Nick?
Yeah, Margo, when I asked Secretary Allen how these people got registered to vote in the first place, he couldn't give me a clear answer just yet, saying it was still being investigated. But when he gave me a breakdown of how many there were in each county, the numbers were glaring. This is a list from Secretary of State Wes Allen of how many non-citizens were registered to vote in our counties. The state found 3,251 people. 742 of them were from North Alabama.
We got the information. We cross-checked it against our centralized data file here in the state of Alabama and found those 3,200 individuals.
The information he's talking about are people with alien registration numbers. Those are issued to immigrants who intend to live in this country permanently and have already applied for a green card. However, you're not eligible to vote with just an alien identification number. When I asked Allen how 3,000 plus were able to register in the first place, he couldn't give me the answer.
But it's our belief that only American citizens should be allowed to vote. Non-citizens, whether they're legal or illegal immigrants, cannot register to vote. It's a federal offense.
Maybe that is why Democrat politicians are so against it, while the American people, the people that they work for, are actually for it.
Just convicted a woman in Massachusetts of voter fraud. Prosecutors say that she also stole more than $400,000 in federal benefits. White House correspondent Aisha Hasni reports live from the North Lawn. Hi, Aisha.
Hey there, Martha. We're talking about a 59-year-old illegal immigrant who's been in the country for years, stole someone else's identity, and then voted in the 2024 presidential election. Take a look at this
Thanks for joining in the chat. Good morning.
Maria Arovio Hernandez. In this picture, you can see her, Martha, wearing that I voted sticker that we all get when we go to cast our ballots. She's also convicted of stealing $400,000, as you mentioned, in benefits. She apparently used her fake identity to obtain multiple state IDs and also a passport. So the president this morning, on Sunday, posted this on Truth Social. America's elections are rigged, stolen, and
laughing stock all over the world. But if you listen to the likes of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, that stuff doesn't happen. Illegals can't vote. Then why are you so against ensuring that they can't vote? I think it's because you know that they actually do. And in places where the numbers are really tight, it's easy to skew, Just saying. I'm just saying. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. There you have it. Crazy, man. Crazy. Oh, man. Never stops with these Democrats. Goodness gracious. Never ending. Never ending. We got to make sure that we win in these midterms, and then we got to make sure that we win in 2028. And hopefully by then, this nonsense from the Democrat Party will at least start to come to an end. And then we crush them again in the next midterms in 2030. All right? Then it'll really come to an end. Because I'm sick. Like, I would love to have two competing parties that were genuinely good. Like, I would love to have the Democrat Party be on the level of the Republican Party, and they're just like going back and forth, just I would love to have that. That would be beautiful for America. I would love it. Absolutely love it. So I hope we can get there sooner rather than later. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's get another one.
We're getting some other insight into what was happening during that raid through. Well, a federal judge gave the DOJ until the end of today to redact any information they needed to publicly release this search warrant affidavit, the affidavit that federal investigators used to justify that raid at the Fulton County Elections Hub. In the meantime, we are getting some other insight into what was happening during that raid through body cam footage. And in that video, you see FBI agents interacting with Fulton County election staff and police about the search warrant. You can also see the moment that Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts and the county's attorney entered the building right before that search warrant was about to get underway, and you can see how this was a surprise to county officials.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of Democrats boo-hoo, whine, and crying in full-blown panic over the fact that the FBI raided the Fulton County election office in Georgia. Okay, now this was based off of a warrant that was issued by a judge, right? So it's totally legit, right? Above board, an independent judge signed off and said, yeah. There's enough probable cause here in order to raid the Fulton County election hub. Okay, and we're talking about ballots, ballot images, tabular tapes, voter rolls, and other election materials from the 2020 general election. The warrant alleges federal crimes under failure to retain, require election records, and deprivation of a fair election process. Now, again, this is a criminal investigation into whether or not the election deficiencies amounted to intentional violations of federal law, aka this is not meant to overturn the 2020 election results, right? But it's meant to hold people accountable who may have intentionally violated federal law, which could have affected the outcome of the election, right? And again, that's why this is being investigated, which is to hold those people accountable. You know, something that Democrats don't believe in for themselves. They don't believe in accountability, okay? They believe that nobody is above the law except themselves, okay? Some key allegations cited as probable cause within this affidavit here. And the search warrant is missing ballot images. Fulton County allegedly lacked complete scanned ballot images from the original count and recount, despite statutory requirements and machine-generated files.
That's crazy. The same county that tried to get Trump.
Exist.
Amazing.
We have duplicated ballots. A data
Fonnie
analyst
Willis
claimed to have found duplicate ballot images in machine counts that didn't appear in the original count, and some ballots that appeared to have been scanned multiple times. Discrepancies in recount reporting. So we have Fulton County reported conflicting total ballot figures between the recount and subsequent days count. We're talking about 17,434 ballot difference, which is a lot, enough to affect the outcome of the election. Okay. You have risk limiting audit irregularity. So auditors allegedly found hand counted tallies that didn't match recorded vote totals and unexplained ballot anomalies, aka absentee ballots with no creases. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that, hey, there's a lot of funny business, right? There's enough funny business here that warrants probable cause to raid the Fulton County election office and to figure out what's going
What's going on here?
So they were authorized to seize all physical ballots, all tabulated tapes, ballot images, voter rolls, and related election records. Okay. So again, it is very clear why Democrats are freaking out about this, because they don't want you to get access to the data, right? The data behind, one, who's registered to vote, right? And who's allowed to vote and who did vote. They don't want you to understand how the votes were counted for obvious reasons, because they know that some funny business went down. If everything was fine, if everything was above board, right, they wouldn't mind transparency. But the fact that they are pushing back against transparency tells you everything you need to know. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
And we are following at this hour another breaking news story. The FBI search warrant in Georgia has just been released. It follows that search of the Georgia election offices. It's now been weeks since that raid when agents seized hundreds of boxes of 2020 election records. Scripps News legal affairs correspondent Avajoy Burnett is in our D.C. newsroom. And Avajoy, you've been poring over that search warrant. What have you seen so far?
Hey there, Del. Well, we're getting a closer look at some of the information that this judge may have used in order to grant a request from the administration for a search warrant to go into that Fulton County election office late last month. And we're now finding out that there are a few witnesses that officials recounted some of the details that they shared with other officials in order to give this information to the judge. Witness number one, as this person has been described, we don't have the names, but this person was described as witness number one, a chemical engineer in the state of Georgia. They claimed that the ballots, there were issues with ballot images from a recount, and the recount did not match the number of ballots that were actually cast. And then for witness number two, this is someone who is a Republican appointee of a Georgia state election board. They said that they reviewed ballots, and they said certain missing files was a sign that some of this data may have been manipulated. Now, keep in mind that these are allegations. The bar for someone to get a search warrant, it's really low. It's probable cause. It's not the highest bar that someone will need to obtain a search warrant. But all of this started at the end of last month when we started to see images of FBI agents and other federal agents outside this building in Fulton County, Georgia. And then eventually inside the building, as they said that they had a search warrant and they wanted to go inside to gather certain pieces of information. And they eventually left with boxes of ballots when election official said that they also had voter rolls that they were trying to acquire. Election experts are really concerned about this. Number one, because President Trump has repeatedly claimed that there was widespread fraud in the 2020 election. This is a state that he narrowly lost.
Thank you, Beard.
We do
appreciate it.
If there is no widespread fraud, right? If everything was above board, then again, there's nothing to worry about, right? There's nothing to worry about. But the fact that they're worried tells you everything you need to know. In fact, Democrats did a whole press conference, right? A whole press conference where they boo-hoo, whined, and cried about this affidavit being unsealed.
We're following breaking news now at 4 records related to the FBI's raid at the Fulton County Elections Hub have been unsealed. Let's listen in to Fulton County officials.
Stop fighting. Now, I'm reaching out to other counties because the president has stated that there are 15 other states that he's looking at, and 3 cities in particular. He talked about Philadelphia, he talked about Detroit, and there's one other city. I've been in touch with the chairs of their commissions because this is not just about Fulton County, as I've said from day one. This is a national effort, and he's using the term to nationalize elections. What does that mean? Having the federal government run elections.
You know, Democrats make me sick with their hypocrisy, right? They're freaking out about this whole, Trump is trying to nationalize elections. Meanwhile, right, before, okay, in 2022, 2023, Democrats, that's what they were trying to do with the, John Lewis Voting Rights Act, right? Their silly Voting Rights Act thing that they were trying to do. That's literally what Democrats are trying to do. Democrats are all for nationalizing elections when it comes to not allowing Republican states to enforce voter integrity, right? To secure their elections. When Republicans go out of their way to secure elections, Democrats cry voter suppression, and then they push bills under the guise of voting rights, okay? Because apparently vote ID is racist, right? You do that in order to empower the government to nationalize elections at the state level, right?
You get an iPhone. I'm pretty sure with your iPhone, you get ID.
Right? This is
and everybody
that
get an iPhone out here. Out of Android. But other than that, I know people out here got
had it not been for
IDs. That's crazy.
And Joe Manchin at the time being unwilling to get rid of the filibuster, right, in order to do it. So this is something that Democrats have put a serious effort into doing, and then they're boo-hoo-whining and crying about Trump nationalizing elections. What they really mean is, Trump is saying that we need proof of citizenship in order to register to vote. Common sense. Or, hey, you must show ID in order to vote, right? You need to have an ID, proper identification, in order to vote. Common sense stuff. 71% of Democrats, 90% of Republicans agree with it. 80+% of the country agrees with this. Democrats, though, say, well, if you agree with this, then you're racist, right? You're racist, okay? And you're a sexist bigot, too, okay? So I just want to be clear here. Democrats and their...
So with those days, I do that unless something, a large event comes up. So what you guys think I do that? Monday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, and Saturday evening. Unless a major event comes up, then I'll go live, and share it with you guys and react to what's going on. Other than that, let's try it out.
Boo-hoo-whine and crying, and mainstream media boo-hoo-whine and crying about nationalized elections only happens when Republicans say, hey, the federal government is going to actually hold blue states accountable when it comes to election integrity. We're going to force blue states to actually issue voter ID, right? To have voter ID laws, or we're going to force them to verify.
Appreciate it, because I got monetized last month, so I appreciate you guys. Blue, thank you.
Right nowadays,
I'm here to share information.
The weakest.
I'm here to share information. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not trying to make nobody be a Trump supporter. I believe in America first. Other than that, I'm just sharing information with some people, guys, that I watch on YouTube as well. So I'm just sharing it, and I appreciate you guys. Let's grow together. Thank you.
Election integrity laws. I think that's for a reason, right? That's for a reason. And this is why Democrats fight tooth and nail in order to stop Republicans from enforcing election integrity in blue states.
Right, I believe in America only. I live here. That's all I know.
In order to win, right? Democrats can't win fair and square.
Same
right?
bird. Yeah, same bird. I get what you're saying. You're right.
Now, I'm not a constitutional lawyer by any means, but I do know that states run elections, not Congress and not the White House. I've also said that the president is treating the Constitution, which is the law of the land, as if it were just a suggestion.
Yeah, again, y'all remember after the 2020 election when Georgia moved.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's grow together. Let's grow together.
The election integrity bills that were passed by Republicans again after 2020. Democrats are boo-hoo-whine and crying racism, right? Voter suppression. Did any of these people ever say, states have the right to run their own elections. The federal government should stay out of it. No, they were begging Democrats and federal government Biden to get involved, right? This is part of the reason why they wanted to pass that voting rights bill because of what was happening in Georgia, right? Because of what Republicans did. So again, this is why you should not be fooled by this language from Democrats.
Right. Because the voter ID is based on, federal elections. We want stronger federal elections. Why not? Makes sense. I mean, this we voted for. I know I voted for this. Common sense. Democrat parties want to bring everybody in, push us out. That's what the true Americans, real Americans put in. Fake Americans. The people don't want to be Americans. And they still sending money overseas. They ain't trying to keep money here in America and build here. They trying to build over there. It's amazing. And they even said it on TikTok, they hate America. Most of these immigrants, illegals.
The mainstream media pretending that they're against nationalizing our elections because they're not. They're just against it when Republicans say,
the great replacement.
We need citizenship.
Thanks for understanding, right.
We need to secure our elections. Then they're against nationalizing our election. When it comes to making our elections less secure, they're totally for it, right?
I want to personally thank our Senators Warnock and Ossoff for their support, and also Congresswomen Williams and Macbeth. They've been very helpful to us, and I'm certain will continue to be, because we know that if they're successful here in Fulton County as the face of this effort, they will take that show on the road and go elsewhere. Now, unfortunately, there are limitations as to what I can share with you about this very complex legal matter at this time. I'll be working with the county attorney and our other legal counsel into the night, as we have been since day one. But in this fight, and with respect to our workers, their focus now, always have been, always will be, on making sure that our 2026 and that our 2028 elections are fair, open, transparent, and that every legal vote will be counted. I want to assure the voters of Fulton County that once again, what we have here in Fulton County are elections that they can count on. And also, we hope to protect their
y'all broke
any
shit.
personal property that may have been seized by the FBI. And lastly, regarding legal counsel, I have every confidence in the world in our county attorney. She's led us through this, but she also knows that this is a national and even international fight. So you've asked me several times about what are you doing about additional outside counsel. I can tell you this. I've received hundreds of calls of people who may have just walked past the law school at some point, never attended class one day, but are offering me advice about who we should use. I accept it, listen to it, but the fact of the matter is, I believe in the final analysis, we have three of the finest legal minds in cases like this throughout the country. Number one, Abby Lowell. Number two, Norman Eisen. And from a local point of view, Kamal Ghali. So we're confident in our county attorney, and with the help of these three other outstanding legal minds nationally, I'm certain that we'll prevail.
Yeah, we're going to see about that, right? We're going to see about that because honestly, I don't see what the problem is, right? If everything was fair and legit, they should be welcoming an investigation. Hey, take a look at whatever you want. Take all the ballots that you want, right? Take all the voter rolls, take everything that you want. Everything is all good. We did everything correct. We did everything right. It doesn't matter how much you investigate. You're not going to find anything. So just take what you want. We don't care, right? That is what the response would be from individuals who know that, hey, we did everything correct, that there was no funny business, right? But because we have panic and outrage from Democrats, they're upset about this. The liberal media is upset too, nationally. That tells you everything you need to know, right? That,
good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning.
Smoke, there could be fire. So again, we're going to see, right? But it looks as if this investigation is ramping up. I'm hoping for some criminal charges if something's actually there. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like. At this point, it seems as if, who knows, maybe the race card is working in a Democrat primary because Jasmine Crockett has taken a surprise lead ahead of James Tallarico, even though James Tallarico was leading previously. Okay, and I want to talk about it because remember, Democrats don't want James Tallarico to lose. They want Jasmine Crockett to lose because the strategists know that Jasmine Crockett would have a much harder time winning in the general election than James Tallarico.
Crockett has said that Hispanics who voted for Trump have a slave mentality. That's not very smart. Well, that will bite you in the ass in a general election. Furthermore, anybody that has any sense of humanity.
So you seen it yesterday?
She made fun of Greg Abbott, who is.
I'll play another one that's more recent with Greg.
An intellectual dope that he was actually in a wheelchair. That's not right. Come on, Rady. That's just trying to do some online fundraising with some Seattle fanatic progressives. And I'm for Jim Tallarico. I think Jim's a great guy and all of that. But basically, I would be for anybody that I thought had the best chance of winning. And it's clear to me that Jim would have a much, much better chance of winning the general election than Jasmine Crockett. I don't think that's a bad person. And by the way, I don't think there's much difference
in how they would vote. I don't think you can get much different product. But if you don't win, you haven't done shit. So if you want to win the election, if that's important to you, as it is to me, then you've got to be for Jim Tallarico. It's that simple.
Well, I agree, but I want Mr. Tallarico to come on this program. He has ducked us a couple times.
He's coming out. I don't have any doubt.
And so I share your assessment of the race.
Yeah. So I just want you guys to understand. This is a dream scenario for Republicans and a nightmare scenario for Democrats. The reason why is because Republicans want Jasmine Crockett to win due to what we just heard from James Carville, who's a Democrat strategist, which is that Jasmine Crockett is a weak general election candidate, especially in a state like Texas.
Trump,
Texas is a red state.
America first,
somebody
baby.
like Jasmine Crockett, who is far left, especially on issues of race. She's not going to appeal to the general electorate, right? Not as easily as somebody like
I thought Dr. King was a Republican.
Also far left as well, too. But he's not a cultural Marxist in the same way that Jasmine Crockett is, right? He's not as divisive, right? He doesn't turn as many people off as Jasmine Crockett, right? Jasmine Crockett may get people motivated to vote for her, but she's going to get just as many people motivated to vote against her. And
Thank you, Jeffrey. I kind of figured
that probably does not play well for somebody like her, right? So with that being said, again, this new poll that we got to talk about here is not good news for Democrats.
We are a little more than 1 week away from the start of early voting in the March primary elections.
The new polling is offering new insights into Texas's competitive U.S. Senate race. It shows Republican
Josh, you call her a crackhead.
and Democratic U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett.
Right, she's going to be loud and seen. She's self-centered. She's a narcissist.
Daniel is here with a closer look at the poll.
She don't care about America.
The state of the race as Texans get ready to start voting. Daniel?
Yeah, that new polling was conducted late last month by the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs. It surveyed 550 likely Democrat and Republican primary voters. It showed that Ken Paxton is leading the incumbent Senator John Cornyn by 7 points.
Vex Chad. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Good morning.
State Representative James Tallarico by 8 points. Both of those are outside the margin of error. It is interesting because some other recent polls have had both those races as neck and neck.
Yeah, like I told you guys before, other recent polls basically showed Tallarico was beating Jasmine Crockett. And now you have this new poll coming out showing the other way around, which means that the race probably is realistically very tight, right? And keep in mind, Jasmine Crockett was the favorite coming into this. She was supposed to essentially blow out James Tallarico. So we're going to see. But again, this new poll right here is not good news for Democrats.
For candidates and campaigns, it's the home stretch before early voting.
You only have about a week left to make sure that you can reach all of those voters.
A new survey of likely primary voters by the University of Houston shows Attorney General Ken Paxton leading Senator John Cornyn 38-31, with Wesley Hunt in a distant third place at 17%. 12% are not decided.
It's a virtual certainty that we're going to have a runoff in the Republican U.S. Senate primary. The only question is, who are the two people in that runoff?
According to the survey, Paxton has an advantage in a runoff. More than half of Republican primary voters say an endorsement by President Trump would make them more likely to support a candidate. So far, he stayed out of the race.
He could, if he wanted to, boost Hunt into that runoff and particularly into the Senate.
On the other side.
Yeah, so before we get into the other side, I just want to cover the Republican side first, right? On the Republican side, is likely going to be headed towards a runoff. Now, Democrats
it was definitely a miracle, man.
Because they see
and pray for the guy who also passed away too, man. Pray for that. Pray for him and his family.
The issue is that because of the rules in regards to how the Republican race works, if a candidate doesn't get 50% of the vote, which it looks like no candidate is going to get 50% of the vote, then it goes to a runoff, in which likely is going to be between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. So the main question is, with Wesley Hunt getting 17% of the vote, and then you have 12% undecided, who is going to get the votes from these individuals, right? The undecideds and Hunt. The poll suggests that Ken Paxton has the advantage, but at the same time, we really don't know yet. Democrats want Ken Paxton to win because they see them as more beatable than Cornyn. The problem is that, in my opinion, I think regardless of who wins, if Jasmine Crockett is the candidate for Democrats, it's going to be hard.
Boy, what's up?
Really tough. Okay, what Democrats actually really want is that they want Paxton to win and they want James Talarico to win. That would, statistically speaking, based on the polls, give them the best chance of actually flipping the seat. So if Ken Paxton wins, who's seen as the more MAGA guy, right? If he wins and Jasmine Crockett wins in her race, then that basically takes away the advantage the Democrats thought that they had when it comes to running against Ken Paxton.
The Senate.
On the other side, 47% of likely Democratic primary voters say they support Jasmine Crockett over James Talarico. Crockett led Talarico in most key demographic groups, except for white voters and those who have an advanced degree.
Overwhelming majority of African American voters intend to vote for her, and they intend to turn out to vote in larger numbers than normal for a Democratic primary.
In the survey, Crockett has a 7-point lead among Latino voters overall and a 20-point lead among Latino women, while Talarico has a 6-point lead among Latino men.
We're in the Democratic primary where 60% are women and 40% are men.
In a head-to-head general election matchup, both Paxton and Cornyn pulled ahead of Crockett by 2 points. Paxton is slightly better than Cornyn against Talarico. Hunt has the largest margin, beating Talarico by 4 points.
Right now, at least in the U.S. Senate race, it's a coin flip.
For Republicans, the gloves are off with the TAC Act.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? So basically what they're saying is that regardless of which Democrat wins, the Republicans have the advantage. It doesn't matter who the Republican candidate is, right? Paxton led Crockett by 2 points and Talarico by 2 points. Cornyn led Crockett by 2 points and Talarico by 1 point. Hunt led Crockett by 3 points and Talarico by 4 points. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to Texas, these polls tend to be a lot closer than the actual results, right? The actual results, when they come in on election day, tend to favor Republicans more than Democrats on election day, right? So keep in mind, these polls are probably worst case scenario for Republicans at this point. But regardless, as you can see here,
that's amazing.
On the candidate, it seems
subscribe, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
General election nominees, again, Paxton and John Cornyn, Crockett is doing slightly worse than Talarico, right? So again, not good news for Democrats who.
Yeah, I ain't watched Super Bowl either.
In other news,
I was at work.
We got to talk about.
And I got off around like 6:30.
Being investigated for a recent interview that they did with James Talarico, because the FCC is saying
I worked the weekend shift.
The equal time rule, so they're also facing investigation. Let's get into this.
The view was reportedly under scrutiny from the Trump administration this morning after an interview with Texas Senate candidate.
See, I don't work. That's funny.
Reuters reports over the weekend.
I'm working for a warehouse. I work the weekend shift, 3 days a week. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 12-hour shift, 36 hours.
They were interviewing Talarico and not giving the same opportunity to his opponents. This comes after the agency extended the rule for equal time late last month to some late night and daytime talk show hosts, which were previously
Super Bowl
exempt. Under
trash.
that exemption, bona fide news programming doesn't require equal time, and talk shows have argued in the past that their interview segments fell under the same category. The FCC pulled
since the
many of those
90s.
exemptions
Okay.
last month, a change that was highly criticized.
I'm a Bear fan.
In that sphere.
Chicago.
In response to the new
I live in Rockford now.
into the View, FCC Commissioner
They do seem rigged. Some of these games do seem to be
saying in a
rigged.
statement, quote, like many other so-called investigations, before the FCC will announce an
Murphy,
investigation.
I understand.
Carry one out,
I understand.
conclusion, or take any meaningful action. This is government intimidation, not a legitimate investigation. It's important to note the View did interview one of Talarico's opponents last month, fellow Democrat Jasmine Crockett. However, her interview came before the FCC's policy change. If the FCC rules against the View after this investigation,
85.
several other candidates for Texas Senate may be entitled to airtime on the View, including incumbent Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. I mean, the View has long time, since 2014, actually operated as news adjacent, which makes it
right. There's some clips out there. You seen some certain tackles that should have been made and he didn't make them. It was like, dude, you stood right there. Go get them. And that's crazy.
Jasmine Crockett
It's
about
out
a variety
there.
of things outside of her her run. But if we're looking specifically at the Tallarico interview, they talked to him, and I watched it about his faith, his family.
Yeah, high school and college football.
It's a national.
Them games, to me, I believe those more real than the NFL.
A competitor on.
Like you said, they get more heart. They get something to prove. Trying to get to that next level.
After she began a tirade against the president during a contentious healthcare battle and jumped on the side of Democrats, which was newsworthy because everybody.
You remember that video, right?
Tallarico is relevant news right now because he started beating Jasmine Crockett in polls, and people were not even knowing if the Democrat could actually swing the state. So he might be one of the first Democrats to actually break through in Texas. That is a big deal.
Well, see, the issue is that James Tallarico is currently
Thank you.
Race,
good morning. Thank you.
And
let's grow together. Let's grow. Let's watch this.
That you have to allow equal time, which means that if
With
you bring on a
sense.
Democrat, you got to bring on their opponent, and presumably that applies any primary, and it also applies when it comes to the general election, right? I do think that if the View is going to be
Playboy Bunny flag
news,
football, right?
News, okay, they call themselves a talk show, whatever, but they're on ABC, okay, which for the most part, again, they do news, right? Then it is what it is. I think that Republicans, if the FCC is going to enforce this rule, maybe they should be entitled to some airtime, right? Maybe they should be allowed to vote in View because let's be real, the View has become a platform for Democrats, right? And promoting Democrats. The only reason that Marjorie Taylor Greene was even allowed on the platform was because she was trashing Trump. If she wasn't trashing Trump,
XFL, I remember that. I'm 43. I definitely remember that.
The FCC is essentially just making sure or forcing the
American Gladiator
to give equal time to Republicans and Democrats and to not just be a platform for Democrat propaganda.
I think they're talking about newsworthy people. So rather than to bring everybody on to balance it out, it's like not. What are we talking about?
No, it's not. You have to bring it. I mean, the equal time rule is
Tommy Maddox.
And it doesn't matter what you're interviewing them about, but you're presenting this figure to the public, then you have to give some measure of equal time to their opponents. Now, a couple of complicating things. Right now, we're still in the primary phase. They did talk to both Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico. That's in the Democratic primary. So if the View subsequently interviewed whoever the Republican candidate ends up being and whoever that would seem to me to be fine if we're being reasonable. Also, I frankly think the equal time rule is stupid and should be repealed entirely, so I don't really care if it's enforced. This is from an antiquated old model of news and information distribution where TV is all there is, but people are going to find out about James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, I mean, that might be true, but hey, if it's the rule, it's the rule. And if they're going to enforce it, then hey, they got to enforce it. I would find it to be interesting if the View actually did bring on a Republican. I think there are legitimate questions about why is it that the View, they only platform Democrats or anti-Trump Republicans. And when you're talking about an election, that, in my opinion, is a form of interference, right? When you're saying that, hey, we're going to platform candidates, but we're only going to platform candidates that we want you to vote for, right? We're not going to platform candidates that we don't want you to vote for. We're not going to give them equal time or a chance to, make their case or whatever. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, if ABC is subject to this rule, then it needs to be followed, right? At the end of the day. And the FCC, it seems like they're going to enforce it. And, that could force the View to actually platform Republicans, which they would totally hate, right? I mean, could you imagine a revolt that would happen on the show, right, live on air, if they actually had to give equal time to
Yes, I'm live. I'm just saying in general for next week.
That's the last thing that they want to do. But, hey, we're going to see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
But moving away from a blue state to a...
So this black woman right here said she used to be racist until she moved into a red state. Yeah, some of the nicest people on this planet are white people in red states, especially in the South. Check out what she got to say. Yeah.
2 years ago, I was racist. I hated white people. I didn't think I hated white people. To be real, I didn't think I did. until the Lord checked my heart. And he said to me, you know you're racist, right? And I said, no, you can't be telling me that. I ain't racist. Like, black people can't be racist, right? And he revealed to me the hatred I had.
He said, so tired of two parties. How about the best person for the kid? Well, the Democratic Party wanted to kill the kids. Abortions, all that. Was it Marjorie Singer? How you pronounce her name? They want to kill the kids. The Republican Party don't.
And in my heart was passed down from a generational teaching that was taught through family and whatnot. Now, when that was revealed to me, that's when my family and we moved down south to South Carolina. I'm originally from Maryland. I'm from PG County. So in that area, it's predominantly black. That's all you see is just, black everything, just black richness, the melanin, everything. That's all you see. Beautiful representation in the area. That's all I knew, literally, until I moved away. And I didn't think I had hatred towards whites until I was around whites down south. I didn't know how to feel about them. I didn't know how to necessarily
Right, Josh, you're right.
around them. Now, mind you, I have worked with white people before. I have, but I still have my mixed views about them due to what I was taught. And that's just that.
I know exactly what she's talking about. Like, when we were kids, my mama used to put us in front of all this content that made us dislike white people. Remember we was watching Roots? Yeah. And then Mama telling us all these horrible stories when she was growing up in the South. She grew up through Jim Crow, though. Yeah, she went through that. Mama was born in the 1940s, right? So my mama seen some stuff. Yeah. Right? And so I totally understand where this woman's coming from.
But here's what made me look at white people differently. When I brought my children to school down south in South Carolina, and the city that we live in is very conservative based, so it's not just a Republican state, it's also conservative based too. And the way how those teachers listen to me when I address my concerns about my children and their education and everything, it blew my mind how understanding. They was very compassionate. I remember them even apologizing to me for what I went through with PG County schools, because Prince George's County schools, for anyone that lives there, they know it is horrible. Horrible. It is so bad. I mean, the system is beyond messed up. Like, it's just bad. So when they saw the issues that my kids have, they placed them in developments that they need to be in school. And when I tell you 2 years later, my children are doing so well. They have progressed so fast.
That's what's up.
And it's such a blessing to me.
That's what's
And I
up.
remember I was telling my sister, I said, I wish kids in PG County, I wish that they can experience this. I was like, every kid in Prince George's County should experience what my kids are experiencing down here in South Carolina. And it grieved me. I said, it's not fair that these policies that they have in place in Maryland, and all the people do is vote blue in Maryland because that's all we know. But moving away from a blue state to a red state, it gave me an awakening that I needed to have. And like, honestly, when the Lord revealed my heart, as far as like how I felt about people who are not my race, I had to repent, of course.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
It gave me a sense of grief for myself for one of the things that I missed out on due to the racism that I had in my heart about whites.
Hurricane, thanks for being in the chat, Hurricane. Thank you for being in the chat. Appreciate you.
Everyone with such love and respect.
Everybody.
I do. I really do. And
what's crazy is the perspective that we have is because we grew up in a poor white neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We lived in all kinds of neighborhoods, but we also lived in a poor white neighborhood, a white neighborhood. Poor has nothing to do with it. We lived among white people. Mm-hmm. A lot of black people, and she points that out, black people who live only among blacks and that's their only experience in life, mm-hmm. You're going to be racist because black people are racist. Well, the thing is this, Keith. When you're black and you're looking at black TV shows, all your friends are black, your movies are black, your music's black, all you know is black. They feed you that white people are racist. Yeah, of course. When you become, if you're a black person and you only accustomed to being around black people, when you get around white people, you're going to have this anxiety. I call it racial anxiety. We had it when we transferred from one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Kind of find out Roots wasn't a true story. That's crazy. I remember watching Roots as a kid, and I'm looking like, man, they bogus, and kind of find out, man, that stuff happened true, but Alex Haley, that was fake.
One school to another school, and
I'm
that
saying his
school that
last
we
name,
transferred to was all white people. Yeah, and that school was so much better. I didn't get bullied.
Until Roots, all that. Yeah, Roots is bogus. I mean,
what's gay got to do with it?
It's what happened,
we
yeah.
had pretty eyes, and it was Milli Vanilli. We were gay looking. Yeah. So they called us Prince too. Yeah, but her moving to a conservative area, predominantly white, that's the best thing that can ever happen to a black liberal or black progressive.
The way how red states with conservative-based cities, because I know every red state doesn't have conservative-based cities. There are red states that have Democrat cities. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about red states with conservative city base, like all red.
Brian Song, not yet. I'll check that out.
I noticed how the local businesses invest in the schools. I noticed how the teachers are happy to teach the children. I noticed how these school classrooms are not overpopulated. I noticed that these teachers are caring, they're loving, they make you feel involved, they make you know that they basically let you know that you are not
I'll check it out.
We are a team. And they don't dismiss your feelings. They don't gaslight you. They don't do any of that. Like, you actually feel like an actual human being around these people. And I'm talking about all kinds of people. Black, white, Hispanic. There's all kinds of people that live down here where I live at. But I want kids to experience the same things that my kids are experiencing in my hometown. I don't know how it could be done because, again, Maryland has been blue for decades. I mean, decades. It's been blue since I was a baby. And it was blue before that. I don't even think if Maryland was ever red before. I can't even recall. But I believe every kid should experience that type of level of education. I believe that every parent should be able to have the option
Color Purple. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Going to a different school, like school choice. I believe that kids should just be able to experience those things. So I don't know if there's a way for
Maryland to turn
red.
No way, ain't no way in hell.
Jones can.
That'll never happen. All them sub-Saharans up there, there ain't no way in hell. And you know what? Your experience in a red state, in a red area that's predominantly conservative or Republican, the reason why you're having such a pleasant experience is because you're a good person and your kids is open to learning. Y'all was open to listening and adhere to new information. Yeah. You could take a lot of those people from Maryland and put them down there. Soon as they feel like they've been disrespected or you criticize them in any kind of way, they're going to scream racism. You're talking to me that way because I'm black. You did that to my son because he's black. You're open to new information, so it's been an eye-opening experience for you. And I seriously doubt you was actually racist. You had a prejudice against white people. You wasn't racist. Yeah. But now, since you had around whites, seen your schools with whites, now you know those prejudices, they were stupid. Yeah. You know? But you was never really racist. Yeah. Because a racist would have never moved to South Carolina. A racist would never accept white people. Right. Yeah. This is really brave of her to put this video on. Yeah. So, there's a good, strong black woman. Ain't it, though? Mm-hmm. And that woman put on a damn good show.
That's funny.
Things are going from bad to worse for one Ilhan Omar as James Comer and the House Ethics Committee looks into just exactly what may or may not have gone down with the winery, with the venture capital firm, with the, I don't know,
negative wealth up to nearly $30 million. Just a
Right, amazing.
year or two later. I mean,
Subscribe,
this is very, very
everybody.
suspicious
Subscribe. Good
reporting on
morning.
it at length here on the Trish Regan Show, which is important because we've got to expose it, and it doesn't seem quite right? When it doesn't really pass the smell test, you got to say, this doesn't seem right. This is a guy, Timmy Mine, as I like to call him.
Right, she was in the negative and went from negative to 30 million within a year.
It's going to skyrocket when I marry this guy.
You won a lottery ticket, I understand.
But, concerns about whether or not it was all on the up and up have also skyrocketed, and she's now facing serious allegations. So people wonder, was this money laundering? People wonder, was he engaged in some kind of pay-to-play?
Right, she once started to feed the children when it came to the COVID situation. She's what they say the godmother of all this fraud is in Minnesota, and it started from Minnesota as a testing ground and expanded to Dubai. So yeah, they need to investigate her really, really, really well. She don't really care about America at all.
Scheme. Was there fraud going on? Was it the idea that, if you want to participate in feeding our future, which built American taxpayers, out of $250 million, did you need to somehow have an in with Timmy, who would then make sure that Ilhan put you on the list? That's what's being questioned, and that's what they want answers to. Let's go to James Comer, who has spearheaded this entire investigation into her. But I want to point out that it's also bipartisan, because the House Ethics Committee is a bipartisan committee. So she's fair game. Here we go.
There's a thing called money laundering where people have businesses and they deposit, lots of cash. Again, I'm not accusing them of any wrongdoing, but she should answer a simple question. If any member of Congress is asked what business their family's involved in, I've never seen one fail to answer it. That's not a hard question. My husband has a private equity firm and he's done exceptionally well in the last 12 months. She won't answer that question. And everybody in America suspects foul play here. Right. And again, we're going to find out. It's not going to be hard to figure out what business he's in and where the money came from. So that's going to be a central part of our entire Minnesota fraud investigation, because she is the leader in Congress, in the congressional district where the overwhelming majority of the welfare fraud is taking place. Her name, as well as the Attorney General Keith Ellison thing, have been mentioned as people of interest. I'll put it like that. She's going to have some difficult questions to answer.
Okay, so she's got to answer these questions, and she's got to start, or at least the hubby has to start with first explaining just exactly how he became worth up to $30 million from basically nothing. If you look at the letter that Comer sent out last
everybody.
week,
Good morning.
This is where Timmy suddenly got some homework to do. He's got to figure out just exactly how he's going to explain to Congress how everything went from $51,000 in 2023 to as much as $30 million in 2024. That's kind of what you would call a big jump. And I don't care how great an investor you are, that's not happening. Speaking of investing, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Let's actually try and make money by making good decisions, right? I encourage you all to go and check out my company, 76 Research. Let's see if we can put that on the screen. Here we go. Yes, 76 Research. The markets have been pretty volatile right now. The SEC. And let me just also cherry on top. If you did have $60 billion asset under management, as you can see in this little graphic, you would certainly be one of the top firms in the country. And this is a little firm that we've never even heard of. And by the way, has a WeWork address.
Never heard of it.
A WeWork address. I'm sorry, but it's just not cutting it, right? It's just not cutting it. Now, Ilhan doesn't want to answer any questions. As you heard, of course, from James Comer, they've been asking her. And this reporter caught up with her, Nicholas Balanci, if I'm saying that right. He found her in the halls of Congress, and she didn't want to say boo.
Into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth. They're claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
Absolutely not.
Do you think they'll find anything in their investigation into your net worth?
Nothing. Okay, she's not talking. Definitely not talking. Listen, they're going to get to the bottom of this, and I think she's in a whole lot of trouble. I want to bring into the conversation right now somebody who knows a lot about finance, a lot about business, and can kind of provide us with some perspective on all of this. Somebody who's definitely not a fan of Ilhan Omar's, and I think suspects a lot of funny stuff going on. I'd like to welcome to the show Steve Forbes. Wonderful to see you.
Good to see you again, Trish. Happy Valentine's Day and everything else.
Thank you. And the same to you. I've been covering this Ilhan Omar story, and I'm looking at these numbers, and none of it makes sense. I mean, if you go to his website, for example, he says, this is the hubby. He said he's running a venture capital firm. They're operating in 80 different countries. He's got $60 billion assets under management. I'm like, $60 billion? I mean, buddy. And you're not even registered with the SEC. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But I'd like you to weigh in on just what you've seen in terms of his company. No SEC registrations, $403,000 in back taxes, it appears, in the state of Delaware, a winery that sort of isn't. What's your initial impression?
Well, with him, if he offers you a bridge, don't buy it. And what we have here is a classic case of connecting to government and using that as a means to get money. And one of the favorite forms is you set up a consulting firm. Nice thing about that is they really can't measure the product. You can just turn out a lot of paper, and they get a lot of money from the government for all of this great advice that means absolutely nothing. It's just it's money laundering, scam, whatever you want to call it. That's how we got the Leering Center in Minnesota, where they can't even spell the thing right. No kids are there. So there's no there except a lot of wasted and stolen taxpayer money. And it's amazing how it's quite something when you mix Marxism
Jigga, it's
with
all
joining the
bad.
government,
Yep, fraud.
how
All
these people,
fraud.
these socialists, suddenly become brilliant investors, brilliant entrepreneurs. Who knew that Marx had that in him? And but we all know what it is. And the other thing I discussed with Lizzie the other day is that these people, even though they portray themselves as tribunes of the people, champions of the underdog and all that sort of thing, they love to live the high life at your expense.
It certainly seems that way. I want to go back to the VC firm and the winery in a second, but when I look even just at his salary, for example, I mean, she paid him somewhere in the vicinity of $850,000 over the 2-year period before they got married. And then what do you know? I mean, it was a bonanza once they got married. The guy's making nearly $3 million as her campaign manager. Steve, who makes $3 million? I mean, everybody was all up in arms because Biden's guy was going to get a sweetener if he won. Although, frankly, I think, I might have demanded that too, given that was a pretty tall hurdle. $3 million, nearly $3 million to run a campaign, a congressional campaign.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you should have investigations, and even if they can skirt the law, publicity is the best way to cure these things. Keep asking them, how do you get that kind of money? And even if they get reelected, their influence is reduced in the sense that people know they are scammers, that they are feasting off the taxpayer. So as they say, sunshine's a great disinfectant. In this case, publicity and uncovering this stuff is a great disinfectant, like that intrepid reporter in Minneapolis going to actually one of these places and finding out they can't even spell and who's there. If you find somebody, they try to chase you away. And then you have the leader of the Democrats in the House saying, oh, this is just racism and blah, blah, blah. People see it for what it is, and that's what you have to do, exposure. And in this day of media, social media, online, what you're doing, you have many, many avenues. And so even if the traditional media press, even if legacy media,
subscribe, everybody, subscribe.
By golly, you've got many, many out there who will be very happy to cover it.
We've actually been all over the story.
This stuff.
Nick
Thanks, Jigga.
mentioned him. He went out there. Gosh, I'm looking at him saying, CBS.
Thanks, Jigga. Appreciate it. Good morning. Thank you.
Make him all of 60 Minutes. I mean,
Thanks for the
reminds me, of Mike Wallace back in the day when he'd take a camera, right, and chase somebody down in the streets, and that's effectively what Nick was doing. He was just putting 1 + 1 together and getting 2. Does this match with this? And it seems like basic reporting, but you don't have the legacy media doing.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael Young. Thank
Democrat
you.
Party is controlling everything. And the minute you say, gee, this doesn't seem right, where do they go? I mean, just look at what Ilhan Omar keeps saying over and over and over again. Ilhan tells us this is racism, that they're just trying to say she can't
Thank you again. Thank you, guys. Thanks for the gifts. Appreciate it. Subscribe.
Reference to the fact that I'm a refugee. It seems like these people seem to have a problem with the fact that I am living the American dream. Yes, I was once a refugee. Yes, I did survive war. Yes, I did come to the United States when I was 12 years old, not speaking English, but I did make it to the United States of Congress.
Well, she's having the American dream, but the wrong kind of dream,
Yep.
the Al Capone dream. And people see through it.
Good one to break that down. Good one.
As you mentioned, Mr. Shirley did.
Thank you.
Guess what?
Let's
Then
grow
you see
together,
their
everybody. Let's grow
excuses
together.
spin.
Thank you. Common sense.
Whereas
Let's do it.
before, they could just say that, and you had nothing
Common
to
sense
counter it
channel.
with. He and others are providing the counter stuff, the actual evidence, the visual evidence, leering, and it's not a porn site. And you get to see what it truly is, and that's the glory of online. You can just put this out there, and by golly, their excuses look what they are, just a sham.
What up, Matt? What up, Matt?
Trying to deflect attention. And it doesn't work if you keep hitting them at it, but it takes a little scut work. There's so much gold out there.
So this is a big
Your mother
jump.
passed in 2012. Sorry about that, man. My mom passed away in 1992. My mom was beat, raped, and strangled in 92
It's certainly not a venture
in
capital.
Chicago. I was 9 years old,
This is
man.
a political consulting firm. I don't know who he's trying to dupe here, calling it a VC. But I guess, VC, he's taking a portion of your business, maybe? I don't know. I mean, if
Saying,
this is
girl,
a
no
shop,
sense.
or if
Hey,
this is a,
no
consulting
hate here.
to play shop,
I ain't blocked nobody. I ain't cussed nobody out. I ain't saying nothing negative to nobody.
Smalley,
No hate here.
clique
All love on this channel.
Minneapolis, and
If
I
you're a
wanna
bot, of
live
course I'm gonna
high
block
on the
you, get you
hog
off of here.
off the American taxpayer. What do I do?
But I'm conservative.
Ilhan's husband, and he
American.
sets me up, and the next thing you know, she's got me. They were trying to get as recently as 20
Yeah,
days ago,
43.
they were trying to get another $1 million for a Somali restaurant owner who claimed he had a mental health clinic right above his kitchen in the restaurant. And it was fortunate that some members of
Yeah,
the
it's a tough pill to
GOP shut
swallow,
that one
man.
down. But I'm like, wow.
I was a foster kid when that situation
They're
happened.
still trying to get some money.
Father passed
And
away.
I'm just wondering
A
how
lot
you
of stuff,
think
but
it may
God
have
is in
worked.
control. God is
Well,
in
it worked
control.
because no one was looking, and the reason they didn't want to look is because there was a source of campaign funding.
Right never my grandparents, my father's side, I have no idea about my father's side until
and especially on the
I was like
Democrat side, the
38.
fear of
I started learning about
primaries.
my father's
That if
side.
you call this thing out, you're going to get primaried. You might win the primary. By golly, you're going to go through hell to win and win the general election. So
Usually I do have a
is a
job. I work at a
that
warehouse.
has people
I live in
looking
Rockford.
away.
I work the weekend shift.
If you would challenge these things,
12
obviously you're
hours.
against immigrants, you're against
Total of
this, you're
36.
against that. And it was
I
very
get 4 days
intimidating,
off.
like
Don't
in
get
the
mad at
50s.
me.
Call you a communist. Oh, no, don't want to be called that. So you can set up anything, and you usually go to these people
Well, I got
because
a
you
job,
want
shit.
something, like a learning center or a daycare center above a restaurant or whatever, and they sign off on it. Remember, the candidate for governor of Georgia, she was going to get $2 billion before the
Yeah, I don't even drink no more. It's been going on almost
not going to happen.
10 months now.
And so,
No alcohol at all.
One of the big, I think
No
Elon
alcohol.
Musk
10 months, no
realizes
alcohol.
this in terms of Doge.
Not
It
going
was a
back.
mistake to use that image.
Never was
of the
alcoholic, but
chainsaw.
no
It
good.
looked like he was
Not
just
for me.
cutting things and taking things away from people. But as we see, the real scandal was that these programs were not going for their
Think about
stated
retirement.
purpose. That's why Governor Walz is suddenly going to be dusting off his resume to look for new opportunities next year. Maybe he can
No, it's
set up
fun.
a daycare
I
center
appreciate what you're saying. It's just fun to explain a little bit to the people.
for his fellow politicians.
Maybe. I don't think I'd want him taking care of my kids though. So this is big
I
problem.
got my limits.
Marsha Blackburn came out and said she thinks it's a $750 billion problem. We know that just late last week, they were talking about the Medicaid crisis and the tremendous amount of fraud that they are uncovering there.
Well, one of the things on that, you're making a good point there, is things like on Medicare or your Medicaid, the amount of testing that they give a patient. And they're Nick Shirley.
All right, you right. It's all good.
And, say a patient goes in with the flu.
Glad you're in the chat. Appreciate you in the chat.
Knee hurts, and you show 6 different things they charge as a disease, so they can.
Thank you.
Different kinds of payments, and again, illustrating that. John Stossel did it for years, and again, bringing that stuff to life, so it doesn't look like you're trying to take something away from people, cutting back. You're actually trying to make sure that the resources are going for the stated purpose. Yeah. And so you're not taking anything away. The key thing politically is you're not taking things away from people. You're just stopping the stealing. And it's not an abstraction. It's a very real thing. Illustrations are impactful.
I guess I'm sort of stunned at the number of spouses that are working as lobbyists. We were recently learning about Ayanna Pressley and her husband, who actually did time. I believe it was a drug-related conviction. I mean, wow,
10 years.
These squad members really know how to pick the guys.
Fuck the weekend.
So
shit.
She's now under fire because she's making something like, I don't know, $300K in income.
I just quit. I didn't make no resolution. I was like, told my wife, I said, no, babe, I'm done. I don't want to drink no more. And that was it. And I stuck to it.
Making 7 figures a year. Again, former convicted felon.
All right, you will catch you back later, man. I'll be back tomorrow morning.
How much is like pay to play?
On Saturday evening.
Like, okay, if you want Ayanna to push for this, you got to go.
Thanks for being in the chat. Thank you.
Charge you a consulting fee. I mean, that's pretty bad, Steve, and that's sort of what we're not supposed to do.
It's new forms of bribery, and it's the whole lobbying thing. And this just gets to the big picture: is this is what happens when you have big government, where you have big government.
You can't totally quit. I just did. I just, like I said, I just like fuck it. I just quit. That was it.
And
I still go to the bars. My wife, she sips every now and then. But I go to the bars and kick and everything. I don't got to drink.
Show how the things they say they're doing, they're not doing. And again, if you're not taking things away from people, they're all for you rooting this stuff out. And they can spot a scammer when they say, oh, it's this, that, and the other thing. You're against Somali people and all that kind of stuff. No, you've exposed it. And again, setting up a consulting firm and what are you consulting about? You're just simply a
middleman. Okay, Josh, that's what's up.
In this case, for getting money for what they think is a good cause, their bank account.
So one of the things I noticed was that they announced their marriage. Ilhan Omar and Timmy Minette. I remember his name always because I think she's probably saying to herself, what do you know? My net worth went up when I married Timmy. So she marries Timmy Minette, and the day they announced their marriage, also interestingly, was the same exact day.
All right, Aaron, blessings to you, man. Blessings. Thank you.
Legislation for feeding our future, which turned out to even involve one of her campaign staffers who made off with millions of dollars.
Okay.
He's convicted. He was tried and convicted, and I'm like, wow, that must have been a very expensive wedding. I don't know.
Gives new meaning to the word dowry when you get married.
Apparently. Yeah. But so if she's involved in this, how are they going to prove this?
Subscribe, everybody. Subscribe. Good morning.
Because
Happy Wednesday.
You're also looking at the possibility of finances going to groups like Al-Shabaab, and that's a concern, especially with the Hawala system. I've done a lot of reporting on this in the past. It can be pretty opaque, but they can still trace it. And he's promising. He came out recently and said, listen, we're putting a whole investigative team on this. We're looking at all of the bank accounts that may have been involved, all the money transferring services. But again, Hawala is sort of a cash system. And when you look at the amount of money, $700 million in a 2-year time period stuffed in suitcases. This is what they declared with TSA that made its way out of Minneapolis, the most of any single city in the entire country.
Just like black licorice. Oh, wow.
Again, happens to be home to this very large.
That's definitely required taste.
Middle East in
unique
suitcases.
taste.
Well, Treasury, I mean, and the concern is al-Shabaab has taken a cut, right? That's the fear here. And this is one of the ways that terror financing actually works. So Treasury has to look at this, not just because of what she may have done, but the threat of this going to illicit sources is very much in their domain. How are they going about this?
Well, they're doing what he's doing now. You examine it. You follow the money trail.
No
and
sugar.
high tech makes money laundering take it to a new level. You also have the tools where you can track that down in a way you haven't been able to do before. So it's just a matter of going after it. It's like crime. People, so you get criminals, but you then find a way to track them down and arrest them. So it's always a race. Human nature's not changed. And Besson is a guy who's not going to back off. And again, when people see where the money's going already for wasteful things at home, it's very easy to imagine it's going for illicit purposes overseas. And one of the things Doge did point out,
Trish Regan, you like her? That's what's
spending over $7 trillion a year, and they have no real idea where those checks are going. I mean, a grocery store has a more sophisticated tracking system than the Treasury Department did. So it's the virtue of free society. People are moving in on this, and with the website, I guarantee you have a lot of detectives.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you guys for the liking. Thank you.
Track these crimes and play detective. Well, you're going to have a lot of people.
Appreciate you guys. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's continue.
So it's like
they're tripping out there.
Information site like Forbes.com. It's not just a magazine, but you have thousands of people online providing information. So in effect, you don't just have a couple of hundred journalists. You have in effect hundreds and thousands of them.
No, she's not young at all.
Tracking this stuff down. And like anything, a lot of it is going to be, it's like a gold mine. Most of the stuff you get out is a sludge, but you do find those nuggets in there. And so you're going to have a lot of nugget finders out there. So the key thing is the exposure. Nobody had any idea how bad this thing was. And now we're beginning to get it. And this is a case of the old cliche where the genie's out of the bottle. They ain't going to put it back.
Yeah, it's her lighting.
If the Democrats come back in power, that does not shut down the internet, does not shut down social media. People are going to find a way to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't shut down our voices. And by the way, Forbes.com has done tremendous reporting on this as well. It was Forbes that I believe was one of the first to cite the $403,000 in unpaid taxes. I'm like, what a winner! I mean,
that's a good joke. That's a good one.
Let me turn to the Federal Reserve. Kevin Warsh getting the gig. I kept saying to viewers, it's going to come down to one of the Kevins. What's your take on this? I know how strong I've known you for years, advocating a very strong dollar and the importance of King Dollar and how much that matters on the world stage. So, any thoughts on the new Treasury Secretary coming in?
Yeah, I think he understands better than the Fed does today that money measures value.
Thank you.
The way that a ruler measures length or scale measures weight. And that if the way you measure value is unreliable, it's like a virus in a computer. When you go to the supermarket and you buy a pound of cheese, you don't have to worry whether the pound is floating each day. I'm talking about the weight, not the British pound, whether it's 14 ounces or 18 ounces. I'd love to point out, imagine if the Fed was in charge of the Time Bureau and they floated the clock, 60 minutes one day, 40 minutes the next. Imagine Trish baking a cake. Cake directions say bake the batter 30 minutes. You have to figure out, are those nominal minutes, inflation adjusted minutes, New York minute, Mexican minute? So it makes commerce much more difficult, much more expensive, and it provides it's like putting sand in the gas tank. And so I think Warsh recognizes that, and I also think he recognizes a basic fundamental flaw of the Fed. The Fed believes, and most central banks believe, that prosperity, economic growth is suspicious because they think it causes inflation. And and that's why when the economy starts to do well, you start to hear talk about the economy overheating. Just ask yourself, if pay goes up, your income goes up, do you start to sweat at night? Do you feel you're overheating because you're doing better? No.
You feel pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's preposterous. So I think he realizes that the real enemy is not a prosperous economy. The enemy is reducing the value of the dollar. And so I think another thing he's going to do is, he stated it, he's going to reduce the size of the Fed's portfolio, now $6.5 trillion. And that has grossly distorted financial markets. It has grossly hurt small business lending over the years, enabled governments to these zero interest rates to go heavily in debt. Today in the world, total debt is now almost $300 trillion, depending on who does the counting, but it's 2.5 to 3 times global GDP. And so you look at Japan, their debt per capita, government debt per capita, is more than twice of the United States. And it's not as if
Josh,
we're
you
doing
silly,
very well
man.
on that front either.
What's
So
the
I think
orange
he
black?
recognizes the Fed has got to reduce its mission. It should not get involved in woke stuff like climate change and political things. The reason the Fed's independence is under question is because they went beyond their original writ, which is a stable dollar and dealing with financial crises that arise from time to time. So stop the mission creep. Reduce the size of the Fed's portfolio, which distorts the markets and hurts all of us. Another thing I think he's going to do is this sounds nerdy, but it, in fact, it impacts us all.
Go for it.
What I think he's also going to do is the Fed bought literally trillions of dollars of long-term bonds, long-term mortgages. that distorted the market. They should go short-term. So I think he's going to change what they call the duration of the portfolio and take that distortion out of the marketplace. So I think he's got the right
What
instincts.
does that accomplish?
What that accomplishes is you get a normal lending market again, where you have a normal yield curve, as they say, where short rates now, 3.5–4% still for treasuries? Ridiculous. Should be in a normal market about 2.5%, if that. Wow. So you get functioning markets again. And you also get an environment where it's not easier, but small businesses have a better chance of getting financing. And with all the regulations the Fed and others put on the banking system, it's why we have this huge rise of private credit. It was a response to the fact that banks had to spend more money on compliance officers than lending officers. So I think he's going to attack those kinds of distortions. And the good thing is that being in the Fed, he's been in the Fed, he knows where they bury bodies. He knows how the system operates. So I think he has a better chance and the authority to make changes and get something normal again, which is the only way we're going to get good, sustainable, strong prosperity.
If he trims the QE, right, he ends the QE, he starts whittling down that balance sheet, but he wants to lower rates possibly, or at least the president wants him to. If he comes, and I've seen an argument for this, and I actually think Besson has written on this, I think Warsh has written on this. Walk me through the advantage of lower rates for everyday consumers, right? Because I guess that would bring down mortgage rates, that would bring down car loans, etc., and that probably has a bigger effect on the middle class than QE.
Well, the key thing is the way you get lower rates without distorting the market and creating inflation.
What up, Salty? Good morning.
By having a stable dollar, trustworthy dollar. Why are interest rates much lower in Switzerland than here? Because people trust the Swiss franc. And by the way, it's kept its purchasing power better than any other currency in the world in the last 100 years. So if you ever look at the money supply of Switzerland, you say, oh my God, that poor little country has hyperinflation. No, people demand the currency around the world because they trust it. So when you restore trust to the dollar, you get people will pay, accept lower interest rates because they know they're going to get something real in a few years down the road. So when you get that kind of a market, then one, you don't get the kind of violent volatility we have today, and you get lower rates, which means you get a more vibrant economy, which means more income, less borrowing on your credit card, but it also means you will get more competition, and you'll get lower rates. And so it's virtuous, but it's amazing how these institutions, because they've never been called to account, get away with, imagine, a bunch of Fed governors, as they call themselves, the Open Market Committee, 12 people, try to manipulate the activities of the United States economy. They tried that in the Soviet Union and didn't work very well. But the Federal Reserve should never be trying to suppress or stimulate economic activity. And
It's just there for sort of really
amazing.
scary times, right? I mean, when you really need them, and push comes to shove.
So they got to be they have to be smacked down. And so I think Warsh knows how to do it. It's one thing to go in and know what should be done, but I hope because of his experience there, he'll know how to do it and do it in a way in which we can get lower rates without stoking inflation. And so he can meet President Trump's desire without upending financial markets, which is what some people fear. But he knows the place, and that's key.
The market's freaked out, Steve. I mean, I couldn't believe the negative reaction.
The markets actually came back when he was first announced, and I think when he starts, I think the markets will really start to pay attention when he does his testimony, when he goes before the Senate Finance Committee for his confirmation. And I hope he lays out that there's going to be a different way the Fed's going to be looking at the world. I think financial markets will be relieved that they're going to focus on what they should be focusing on, a stable dollar. And then you'll see the bond markets behave better. You'll see, I think, the stock market is responding to other things, but it won't have to worry about the Fed anymore. All good stuff.
No, it's healthy long term for sure. Any sort of overall view on where we're heading right now? Do you feel good about things? I mean, some people were worked up about the recent jobs report.
Thank you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for being in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Name is Deunta.
But
let's continue.
But by the way, there are always discrepancies. But what has been unusual in the last couple of years is
thank you. Let's grow together. Thank you.
You know, when you add up 12 months or 18 months, they kind of come out together, even though month to month they have big differences. But right now, the way they try to collect the data, especially after COVID and during COVID, and especially now that people are leery about answering questions, especially if you have an immigrant in the house. So the data is kind of suspect now. But the key thing is, if we get things right, and I hope that means another tax cut, reducing tax rates directly for individuals, businesses, as President Trump wanted to do.
Thank you guys.
Actually, reducing cap gains.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Real job growth, and not have to worry whether the bean counters at the BLS or the BEA get it right or not. People will feel it. That's what the key thing is. It's not the numbers, it's people's perceptions. Are things moving in the right direction? Right now, they don't feel that way, but hopefully if these things come together, that'll be a good thing. But in the meantime, one of the things Warsh is going to have to worry about, a weak dollar is not good. And President Trump has to forswear. He doesn't want a weak dollar for trade purposes. President George W. Bush, by the way, tried that. We saw where that led. And so we're going to, I hope the president will say.
Don Trump, thank you for that, man. Thank you, Don Trump. Smash that like button. Let's subscribe.
That'll be a huge relief that we're not going to have the kind of dollar devaluation and turmoil that results from it.
Smash that like button. Subscribe. Thank you.
No, there's been a heck of a lot. And the whole debasement trade, right, has been based off of that. And look, if we can get away from that and we can really return to the normalcy that you refer to, I think it would be healthy, very healthy long term. And look, you can't sustain yourself the way we're going. We don't want to be Japan.
No, and Japan's in deep trouble now because, one, I think she's willing to face down China. China is trying to intimidate her, and because she realized the importance of a close relationship with the United States. But also, she's got to get a lesson on economic growth. So I not so jocularly suggested to our friend Arthur Laffer that he go over there and give her a tutorial on the virtues of tax cuts and the Laffer curve. And
yes,
Japan
the napkin.
Can get its
just
act
draw it
together.
out, just like he did for Reagan.
Yep.
Have
sushi.
Yeah.
Have some sushi with it, and life will be better.
We've taken the Laffer curve global. Oh, Steve, it is so good to see you. We hope you come back on the show again soon. This is all very, very valuable insight from you. We really appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing me on and allowing me to discuss some nerdy things. And one closing nerdy thing that I hope Warsh does at the Fed is lower and eliminate paying interest on bank reserves, which in effect sterilizes money. And instead of letting it be put out in the marketplace and doing good active things.
Say that again. So pay interest on bank reserves.
The Fed right now pays interest on bank reserves, over $3 trillion of bank reserves. And that's why the Federal Reserve is probably the first central bank in history. Remember,
right? Trump gave HBUs what, 500 million
loss. In the last few years, the Fed has lost over $100 billion because their bond portfolio earns less interest than what
subscribe. Good morning.
Reserves.
Let's grow.
Really dumb. And again, another distortion that's got to be phased out. They shouldn't be paying interest on bank reserves.
How they got so irresponsible, right? I mean, Powell, I never understood it. You know, my husband would try and say, well, just try and put yourself in his shoes. I mean, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. And I'm like, why does he keep printing and printing and printing? And, you know, what do we get to 9-point-something% on consumer prices, over 10% on the PPI number, producer prices. And I was like, you could just see it coming. Who couldn't see that coming?
The problem with Jerome Powell, sadly, was he got captured by the bureaucracy in the Federal Reserve. And this is a good thing about Warsh is that he knows their games, and the spiders can spin all their webs, but he's not going to get caught in them.
I think he probably has a good relationship with Besant as well. And by the way, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Besant. I mean, you know, the guy basically took down the Bank of England. So I think we want him on our side, right? And he's no joke. Watch out, Ilhan Omar. So you've got Besant there. You've got Warsh. And interestingly, a lot of people are trying to, you know, there's conspiracy theories.
Subscribe.
They're like, well, Warsh was a consultant for the family-funded Druckenmiller. And of course, Besant worked for him. But I'm like, you know, Stan's pretty smart, okay? So he's pretty, you know, I feel better about the folks there now as opposed to Janet Yellen and her sort of ragtag team. She disappointed me tremendously because she could have done so much good stuff, but she really didn't.
Well, that's, as we were talking about with Warsh, you can say even more about Besant. He knows the markets.
He's an
I don't
idiot.
care who he was working for or what he did to help do to the pound, which didn't know what it was doing in the early 90s. He knows the game, and he learns. And that's what you want. Strong person, strong leader who can learn and know something about the markets, and not just in an academic sense, but in an everyday sense, operating sense. So that's what you want, real world experience.
I think we've got a good team. I mean, for all the criticism the president takes, and you know, even some question some of the appointments, I'm like, look at those economic appointments. I mean, those are great.
And also, by the way, his energy appointments, Doug Burgum, Wright, and Lee Zeldin, good threesome there on the energy front too.
Well, we love seeing you. Love talking to you, and we'll connect again soon. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Trish. Look forward to it.
You know, I always feel smarter when I talk to him. A lot of...
To do. Here's how it's going to happen. You decide to ignore it. You can't drive by the boat and say, I wish I had something like that. Because he's telling you.
Agrees with what I'm saying. Larry, we are paying so much more interest than we should be paying. We're the strongest country in the world. And let's go back again another 20, 25 years. We were always the lowest interest rate. Even if we weren't doing well, our country was the lowest. We used to pay like almost nothing. Other countries would always, no matter what. Now, we're like number 38 because we have had stupid people running our country. You know, I had an incident with a very nice country, Switzerland. They were paying no tariffs, sending stuff over here like nobody could believe. And we had a $42 billion deficit.
Subscribe, everybody. Thank you guys for joining the chat. Subscribe. 93 people. Like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you.
At one time. So I put on a 30% tariff. which is very low. Still, we were having a big deficit, but it was half the deficit. Then I got an emergency call from, I believe, the Prime Minister of Switzerland, and she was very aggressive, but nice, but very aggressive. Sir, we are a small country. We can't do this. We can't do this. I couldn't get off the phone. We are a small country. I said, you may be a small country, but we have a $42 billion deficit.
Oh, man, congratulations, Donald Trump. Congratulations.
Again and again and again. I couldn't get off the phone. So it was at 30%. And I didn't really like the way she talked to us. And so I said,
subscribe. Let's get it. Let's get it.
It's a 39%, more palatable at least now. But I realized that all these, Switzerland you think of as, ultra chic, ultra perfect. They're not. They're only that way because we allow them to rip us off and make all this money. And I could say the same thing with another 40 countries. You know them better than I do. You and I could name them. Some are much more egregious. And I realized then that the only reason we aren't doing the kind of numbers that we should be doing is because we've allowed countries over the years to take advantage of this. By the way, with tariffs, they charge tariffs. We didn't charge tariffs. We didn't charge anything. We were stupid people, run by stupid people. We lost our chip business to Taiwan. We lost our car business to Mexico and Canada. We lost our car business to Germany and Japan, everybody else. I mean, all over the world, South Korea. Look, we have a really,
subscribe, everybody.
I'm being very conservative now. I'm really being a very conservative person. But we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff money. And you know what it's doing? They're moving here. That's why it's $18 trillion. They're moving their plans here because they don't want to pay tariffs. And only stupid people or people that really hate Trump could argue with us.
And you love factories. You love it when they build factories.
I love it. I want Japan to come and build factories.
As if you want to understand a good chunk of his trade policy, it's about factories, building factories here. Is that fair?
Well, we're building a record number in history. There's never been anything like it. And that means auto plants, not just AI. Now, AI, we're leading China by a lot. I did something with AI. So AI, for whatever reason.
And notice, I haven't talked to you much about AI recently, because I know some people look at it as weird, but it continues to grow. If you're seeing some of the stuff that Grok is doing, if you're seeing some of the things that you can do, it's insane. In fact, a bunch of the Super Bowl commercials were completely AI generated. You could tell which ones they were. Some of them didn't. I mean, the writing sucked. But in terms of the visual and what they could do,
right,
you're going to have a whole bunch of people who no longer have jobs because the machine took it over. And so how do you protect yourself to make sure that your job, your ability to earn money isn't taken by a machine? Well, you learn how to program the machine. It's not difficult. I'm not talking about learning how to code. I'm talking about learning how to write prompts. And once you learn how to write prompts and you get really good at it, you're going to see that you have a talent that people are going to want, because too many people aren't learning it. The whole thing with everything, to not be a taker, to be a maker, you're going to have to begin learning how to create. Don't shy away from the tools, the different things that are out there, because that's the difference in the market going forward. The market going forward doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the smartest, the best. You have to know where to tap on the pipe. The old joke is somebody called the plumber, and the plumber came out to do a job, and their pipes were clogged, and the plumber walked up and tapped on the pipe a little bit, and everything started going well, and he handed the guy a $500 invoice. The homeowner looks at this, but you didn't do anything. You just tapped on a pipe. He goes, no, I knew where to tap on that pipe. You didn't. I knew what to do. That's the difference. If you know how to prompt AI, if you know what businesses, how they could do better and be better served with AI. It takes you nothing other than your time to become a maker instead of a taker.
It's massive amounts of electricity, right? More electricity than the entire country produces right now by double.
MAGA.
Now, who would even think that's possible? We're not going to get that off the grid. We can't rebuild our grid overnight. And everyone said we can never really do, because China does very well. You know, they have lots of coal. They use coal like nobody uses coal, clean, beautiful coal. So what happens is, by the way, we've rejuvenated coal also, but we're not allowed to use the word coal.
Thanks, Salty.
Without saying clean, beautiful coal, because it needs a PR job, right? But China has an ability to make a lot of it. You got to respect them and admire them. They're making a lot of electricity.
It's on Skynet. Oh,
Because
shit,
I'm letting
Skynet.
everybody that builds a plant build their own electric plant. They're going to become like a utility. So they're building a massive plant that's 4 miles long by 4 miles wide. I mean, buildings that nobody's ever seen.
I don't know. My friend gave me that hat. My friend in Chicago, he gave it to me 2 years ago. He gave me the hat.
Some are nuclear, some are oil and gas, some are coal as a backup, just in case for emergency reasons. But they're building their own electricity. They're producing their own electricity.
I got this one so far.
Over, they'll sell it into the grid. And it's been unbelievable. And now we're building, we are dominating everybody.
With 100% depreciation, immediate expensing, which is so huge.
They take it all in 1 year. They take the cost of the factory, they deduct it in 1 year.
Do you understand what they just spoke about? Seriously, I'm not trying to offend or belittle or preach down or talk down to anybody. Did that conversation, that little exchange between these two guys, did you understand what they said about the depreciation, the capex, and being able to do it in 1 year? I am not going to talk down to anybody. What I am going to say is, if that missed you, what the hell are they talking about? You might want to look up depreciation and capex under the big, beautiful bill. Because these are the terms that most people don't know. These are the terms that most people are never taught. These are the terms that the Democrats never even speak.
Right.
So you're listening to two guys right now. We're talking on a level up here, and none of the Democrats even have these conversations in public. I'm pretty sure Pelosi and some of them know exactly what depreciation does. I'm pretty sure they understand what capex does and all these things that you can do. The biggest financial talk people are having, they're trying to learn what compound interest is as they're talking about the Trump accounts. Notice the Democrats aren't talking about that either. They talk about nothing that can help Americans improve their lives.
Right, they want you to rely on them. Government.
Paying taxes is extremely encouraged as we go barreling towards April 15th. Evading taxes is what's illegal. They all know the rules. They just don't tell you. But fortunately for you, that's not an exclusive club.
Trump, bans Trump. That can happen. He can run as a vice president.
Can't do to continue to keep more of your money. And the Democrats, what they try to do is, the whole thing about fair share, which has no definition whatsoever. It just means we need to take more of yours. What is Mondami saying? We got to make
subscribe,
and we're going to make sure everybody has universal child care. How you paying it? Well, we're just going to make the rich pay more. There's not enough rich people. You mean make everybody pay more for your scam ideas?
Eric Trump, okay.
You can avoid having to be a part of that if you knew what tax strategies to utilize.
We'll see.
They don't teach you that. They don't even talk about it. How can I get away from having to pay this Mondami insanity? See, the rich people that he thinks he's going to tax, they already know what their moves are going to be. You telegraphed it.
Thank you,
told
Travis.
them, hey, I'm going to tax you for stuff for the takers. And the makers are like, not so fast, brother. we're going to make our moves now before.
Yeah, he's seen what his dad doing and the last presidents did. He's learning a lot right now.
People just above the takers.
You're saying to them, you know, if you build here, you don't have to worry about tariffs. And if you build here, you're going to get an incentive. You can write it off in the first year.
And other incentives. But the biggest one, I've always said, you know, one of the reasons my first term was so successful, we passed a tremendous
I heard about that book too.
Also. But one of the things we did is 1 year depreciate. In other words, you take whatever you're investing, whatever it is, you write it off in 1 year. It used to be 38 years.
He just explained it. He just explained it. You want to go buy a
Okay,
truck?
Jeffrey, move to real estate. I believe you.
You want to go do this, build a factory? You can write it off. If you don't know what your CapEx depreciation and write-offs are, you're missing the boat. Because too many people think, oh, that's just rich people. You're looking at buying a new car? You're looking at doing something? I would tell you one easy strategy, but I don't want to embarrass somebody. But just say this. These Trump accounts, they're not new. That strategy is not new. The strategy of transferring money to a son, a daughter, a grandchild, none of that is new. You just didn't know about it.
Yeah, like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a tall president.
Years ago, during the advertising agency, he taught me. And I'm like, every single one of his kids.
If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed.
$10 million when they turned 21. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? Well, we opened up an account when they were younger, and we kept putting money in it. And then, you know, when they turned 20. So the Trump accounts aren't new. These are strategies they've been using. And everybody's like, wow, Trump came up with... No, he just told you what they've been doing. He just made it easy by basically bankrolling you. Hey, you want $1,000 here? Just don't touch it. In about 10, 20 years, here's what you're going to have. We already knew that.
Duh.
The problem is our education system never told people about compound interest. Let it ride. Don't touch it. See what happens.
Oh,
or even
wow.
better, add to it until your parents, your grandparents, everybody.
Yeah, you kick Vince McMahon ass.
Let's
Yeah.
throw 50. Let's throw 75 in this month. Just keep adding money to it. Everybody looks at rich people and says you were born with a golden spoon in your mouth, instead of saying, where'd mom and dad buy the silverware? How did they put this silverware in the drawer? Because I've never heard this stuff. And I know you haven't, because there's people I know who never heard it. Like, wait a second, I can do that? Yeah. I won't get in trouble? No. How do you think they're doing it?
Trump said
Why do
it.
you think certain people get a brand new car every year? Why do you think some people have private jets? You think they just want the jet? Or is there something else that goes along with it? Is there a reason why you're not flying, first class? And don't say you can't afford it. Because what if it didn't cost you anything to fly first class? Oh, yeah. Oh.
42 years, depending on where you were, but 38 years on average. And I let him take it at, and you know what it meant? It meant much greater growth. We had tremendous growth. And I think it's being superseded by a lot. And the other thing is, I've been watching you for years. I'm so proud of you. You're part of the alumni.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted you, I'll tell you what, his first of all, he's great. Second of all, his ratings are great, and they should be. But I wanted to keep Larry in any form possible. But he said, I have to go out and make some money. So it's one of those things. And he shows me a real success.
Thank you, sir.
He shows me real success. But I will say that I've been watching you and everybody.
Almost 2 hours in. Good morning. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys being in the chat.
This is great. GDP.
Thank you.
3% GDP. 2.5. They're very happy. 2.5.
All right. Now listen to this very closely. This is a 1.6 gigawatt moment.
Subscribe. Good morning.
He's about to drop a 1.6 gigawatt moment. Going back to the movie Back to the Future. Remember when he's like, "Hey, what did I just say there? 1.6 gigawatts. You're about to hear a 1 gigawatt moment."
1%. Happy with anything. We should grow 15 or 20%. Larry, every time we're growing, they stop it by announcing that we're going to raise interest rates and stuff. So we're going to do 5.4%. It was announced with a Democratic shutdown, which cost us at least 1.5 points. Okay, people don't realize we could have been at 7%. We should be at 15%.
I can't
You see
even
it, Salty.
comprehend that.
It's always gonna be them in the troll.
I want you to go and look in your books and look at GDP over the last 20 years, and you'll see it moves in little, pubic hair increments, 1.5, 1, 2. And he just said the economy can grow to 15% growth. If the economy goes to 15% growth over the next 3 years, every single one of you should be driving a Porsche. Every single one of you should have a second house. 15% growth. Go look at what GDP, first of all, go look and see what GDP is if you don't know. And then secondly, find out what historically GDP has been. What's the highest the GDP has been? I don't know, in the last 40 years. Look that up. And then realize over that 40 years when you thought you've done well, you had a great time, you and your family did well, and find out what that number is and multiply it to see what you need to get to 15. And when you multiply it, think of what would have been if you had 3x or 4x that number. Because that's what he's talking about.
I'll tell you, if our new head of the Fed, who I think is going to be great, and he's a really high quality person. He was and your friend Kevin was great, but I want to keep him with us too. I said to Keith, look, I had the two Kevins, right? But I wanted to keep him with us. He's doing great. But if he does the job that he's capable, we can grow at 15%. I think more than that.
Well, 15 is a big number, sir.
But Larry, you can do it. The problem is every time we used to grow at 15%, and when we were starting as a country, we were growing.
Yes,
because we had spirit and we had the right incentives. Today we have a lot of socialism, a lot of communism. We have a lot of bad things.
Subscribe if you haven't subscribed.
We did
Thank you.
5.4 with a shutdown. Think of it. We can do that. This country can do it. Tariffs are very important.
Right, we know where the woman is over
Are
here.
you seeing the confidence in this guy? As he's talking, the camera's on his face. He's like, we can do 15, man. We can get there. And that's like a coach saying, you can win today. But, coach, we've never beaten this team. We can do it. I'm telling you, we can do it. And part of what he's doing here for the people who watch it is to get you incentivized going, I think we can do it. Can we do it? Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? Well, maybe we hit 9. Maybe we hit 8.5. But we could do 15? Yeah. We could beat this team. We could score 25 points on them. You could score 30 points on them. I think you can score 30 points on them. And what that does is it conditions you. It conditions you to do better. It conditions you to excel. It conditions you to have inspiration. And as he said, spirit. The entirety of the Democrat Party, the entirety of any trolls in the comment section are there to crush your spirit. That's what's most important. I don't want to be around anybody that's negative. I don't want to be around anybody in my personal life. Shut up, go away. Don't take me away from my drive, what I want to do. And when I did this channel, up until like the last week, I was having a great time. And I'm like, man, these people are just, I can't take it. I can't take these people. They're making me feel like I'm wasting my time. They're making me feel like I need to turn the mic off and not turn on anymore. And my wife goes, that's not you. You've never been that person. And she started having a Rudy speech with me. And she started talking to me, and I'm like, keep going. Yeah, I'm going to run through a wall tonight, Robin. I'm going to get on fire and tell people, listen to what he's saying. They broke our spirit as a country.
Damn.
They keep telling you you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. You got to focus on boys being girls. We got to focus on Transformers. We got to focus on DEI. Wait a second. Can we focus on being great?
Right.
Huh? Wow, nobody's really said that before. You see, the reason why the Democrats hate Make America Great Again is because they don't want you to be great. They've done the opposite of what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring back spirit. He's trying to bring back inspiration and drive. Where it was like, I can do anything. Just show me how. And the Democrats are like, oh, it's awful out there. We got Epstein. And, they're taking away newcomers. And they're doing everything wrong just because the rich people want it. You've heard them. They keep saying it. And they suck in so many people. And there's so many trolls who feel the same way. America was never great. Tell me when America was great. You've heard them say that. Oh, you're black. America was never great for you black people. Tell Robin that. Robin, I don't think it was ever great for us. Don't let me slap you, she'd probably say. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because whether there was ups or downs, I never stopped. Yes, I was
right, black millionaires. Come on now.
And she'll tell you, it didn't stop him. What are you doing? I got to get going. And so it just happened again. I felt a very, very low point after the last 24, 48 hours. And I was like, oh, man, this sucks. And this morning, I'm sitting out by the pool, and I'm looking out over the water, and she's like, you're blessed, I'm like, yeah, you're right. We're blessed. Let me go run through a wall somewhere. let me go ahead and put on my helmet and just go. I want you to have that kind of spirit, but the only way you're going to get that kind of spirit is if you block out the bullshit. If you say, you know what, the Epstein stuff, as horrid, as heinous, as vile as it is,
it's messed up.
You have no control over any of it. There is not one thing you can do to make it better. But there is one thing you can do to make yourself better, and that's to push that stuff off your plate. That's a bunch of sweet, gooey mess that I don't need to eat right now. I need some meat. I need some salad, maybe a little bit of potatoes, but I don't need this crap on my plate. I'm going to leave that to other people to take care of. I'm going to get inspired.
I'm taking in hundreds of billions.
Okay, Rachel, that makes sense, Rachel Davis. Okay.
And we're going to start paying down debt. This country has never been so strong, militarily or any other way.
When did you know you wanted Kevin Warsh?
So
officially, it was 2 Fridays ago. But when did you?
Well,
really
I made
know?
a mistake. He was runner-up, if you want to say.
He was a finalist.
Yeah, he was, and I made a mistake because I had somebody that was my Secretary of the Treasury wanted him so badly, and I didn't feel good about him. But sometimes you listen to people, and it was a mistake. It was really a big mistake. But I think we're going to do something that's really spectacular. And then Biden renewed him, which was shocking to me. That was bad because Biden renewed him. I said, oh, boy, this is lousy because if I win, I'm going to inherit this guy for a period
of time. Over 50 years, people couldn't do nothing. Over the last 50 years, everybody was on what? Welfare, still on welfare, Section 8. What you talking about? They chose not to get better as black people.
600
or other cultures.
All he has to do, if we went down 2 points,
they are Section 8.
We don't have a deficit anymore. And that's without cutting.
Get off the link
It's
card.
a paper charge. When you think about it, it's a paper charge. We should be the lowest interest rate in the world. The reason I bring up the Switzerland because we should be lower than everybody. Switzerland's like.
It's funny. I'm looking at this comment right here. It said, "Love to listen to the president." That's specifically why
I remember back in the day, they had layaway, and when it came to layaway, most families, when it came to layaway, they save their money, and they put money towards it every week, every Friday, look something forward to put money to the side to get what they wanted. And a lot of people back then, I think it was the 60s, they saved a lot of money during the 60s. That was a good system back then, how they saved their money. They wouldn't buy anything they couldn't afford. They put their money separate envelopes, bills here, rent for this, water bill for that. They had everything more organized. That's the problem. Nobody's being organized no more. I think it was the 60s generation did all that.
Why they don't show it. Because it's hard to listen to him and not feel fired up. I mean, I needed it. I needed it right here. I needed to mainline me some MAGA. Let me tie off and shoot up some MAGA. And so I listened to this and I was like, okay, there it is. Got the mojo back. Got my mojo back. I could not have the mojo listening to this guy. Immediately, the mojo comes rushing back and going, that's what we need because we don't hear it. Dude, go out there, do a rally or two. Do something. Because doing that is what people need to see. Like whoever had said that, we don't love listening to him because we don't get to hear him. It's like keep going. Don't stop after like 45 minutes. Just keep going, man. We want to hear what you have to say. Just go with it. You saw the press conference earlier today. You can almost see the angst in Caroline Leavitt's face. You people suck. And I told Ashley afterwards, and some of you ladies will understand this. I'm like, not only does she feel that way, but you have to understand she's pregnant. And so the hormones are going
Mr.
crazy.
Brady.
Feet are probably swelled up. I ain't got time.
The Brady Bunch, yeah. That's what happened.
Not at all. Somebody get me a pickle.
Just about the lowest. If I charged them tariffs, they would not be doing very well. They would not be doing very well. I treated them very nicely, actually, but they would be, and many other countries would not be doing very well. So I'm being very judicious, to put it mildly, but this country should have the lowest interest rates in the world. We keep the world going. We allow, you know how many deficits, when I got here, almost every single country in the world that we did business with made money off of us. We didn't make money. We had deficits with everybody. And I call that a loss. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter a lot. To me, I call it a loss. So we are losing money with every single country in the world, just about. There are a couple, I don't know what happened. Maybe we got lucky. But we had the worst negotiators. And we had presidents who were lousy business people. And, you know, I liked Ronald Reagan, but Ronald Reagan was bad on trade. Everybody has problems. He was not good on trade. He allowed Japan to come in and Germany to come in. But we both like him. And he was a good president, but he wasn't good on trade.
I cut my teeth with him. But Bob Lighthizer would disagree with you. I don't want to spend too much time on
tariffs.
Reagan was tougher than you think on it.
No, only trade. I think, well, he had the big
Troll above, you see it.
shootout with
I
Japan.
see it.
He folded.
But he wasn't.
And they came in and took our car market.
Can I go back?
Look, I'm a fan of his, and I thought he was, just sort of had a great presence. But on trade, if you look at every president we have over the last 50 years was bad on trade. Every single one.
Well, they didn't understand.
But I'm not bad on trade.
What's up, Jason? What's up, Jason? Good morning. Good morning.
Reciprocity. I mean, people didn't understand that.
No, they didn't.
Probably I didn't understand it when I first came to work for you, and it changed a lot of thinking.
Well, you were amazing because you weren't a tariff guy because you haven't thought about it that much. But when you do think about it, we're losing a fortune. I mean, the country losing. We have $36 trillion for a reason, and this is over years and years and years. But you kept an open mind to tariffs, which is something that. Or I wouldn't have been able to make
something to think about, Josh.
And almost immediately you saw the kind of money that started coming.
Well, that's true. But the thing is, you yourself, on reciprocity, you're bringing down barriers, okay? Tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, and so forth. So I think in your heart of hearts, you're actually a free trader. If you could get the kind of reciprocity that you want. And you've already, the Wall Street Journal editorial page will never give you credit for it, but you have lowered barriers. We have now lower export barriers. We can sell a lot more American goods abroad than ever before because of the
I did this last night. Hope you guys check it out. I did did this last night.
You're bringing in close to 300
It's a video from
billion
last night.
last year alone in revenue.
And that's being nice. And that's being nice. And that's being very nice and gentle. I mean, it's, look, I settled 8 wars. Of the 8 wars, at least 6 were settled because of tariffs. In other words, I said, if you don't settle this war, I'm going to charge you tariffs because I don't want to see people getting killed. And they said, well, what does this have to do? I said, you're going to be charged like India and Pakistan. It would have been a nuclear war, in my opinion. They were really going at it. 10 planes were shot down. They were going at it. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said,
Thank you, guys.
President Trump saved at least 10 million lives when he got us to stop fighting because he...
No. I did a reaction. That was a reaction video I did. No, I don't know him. It'd be nice to meet him.
I said to numerous of these countries, they do business with us, I said, if you're going to keep fighting, Azerbaijan, you know, they were fighting for, that one was going along for, I think, 32 years. I got it solved in one day. I said, listen, you do a lot of trading with us. We're going to charge you tariffs if you don't settle. We settled that war in like 1.5 days.
You know what Trump should say? Trump should push voter IDs for the immigrants and watch they go crazy for that. It's just amazing how anything Trump do, we go the opposite and go nuts.
If I didn't know, so it gives us tremendous national security.
That's the point.
We're waiting for a big decision in
the Supreme Court should take.
I hope so. I just don't know. I hope
tariffs are economic tool, but they're a national security tool.
Totally.
You just did the India deal, 18%. Hopefully they won't be buying oil from Russia, but that's another example.
They were
of
buying
foreign
a lot,
policy.
and now they're buying very little. They cut way back, and I just gave them a little bit of a push. But I just hope the Supreme Court does what's right for the country, because now, will I figure something out? But the answer is yes.
All right, so
I know that.
Here's a guy who's planning for the best, actually planning for the worst, because the best will take care of itself. Something I learned a long time ago. Plan for the worst. The upside will take care of itself.
All right.
Will I figure something out? Yes. I don't want things to go negative in this regard. I don't want the Supreme Court to say the tariffs, you can't do them.
Amazing.
But I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find a way
to
make sure we can keep going what we're doing. Because what I believe his plan is, and what, he and Howard, I wouldn't be surprised if right before the midterms, assuming the Supreme Court says the tariffs are okay, I would not be surprised somewhere June, July, maybe even August, he proposes eliminating income tax. And the Democrats are going to go ballistic, and he's going to have to make them stand up and defend taxing you. Because once he puts that carrot in front of people and says, we're going to be so rich, we don't need income tax.
Not the Karen.
We've already said it. And I really believe they're just waiting for the ruling. The ruling comes down, we won't need income taxes. We're going to be so rich. That would be the second Armageddon that the Democrats will have to face. If we can get the SAVE Act over the line, that would be basically the first shot on the bow, boom, and then no income taxes, and they're done. They're absolutely done. Again, that's what I think that's what their plan is. He said it a couple times, because and we wouldn't even have a deficit. So if you can listen to what he has said tonight, got to have the tariffs. If not, I can work something out. We might be able to do 15% GDP. Everybody's going to be rich. If we got a 15% GDP and we have low interest rates and we have tariffs, what the hell do we need April 15th for? It's just a surplus. Why am I going to take money from you and we don't need it? That's why I truly feel the Democrats are acting the way they are, is because they can see the writing on the wall. Not that these people like AOC can, But the deep state and the Rothschilds and the people who are calling their shots are like, wait a second, he's about to unleash hell on us.
Old Texas, good morning. Yes, yes. Stand with
We
ICE.
got to
Yes,
put
yes.
his name in the Epstein files a million times.
Yes, yes. Stand with ICE.
They can't stop what is
Thank
coming.
you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Court
Good
might
morning.
put a
Good morning.
speed bump in there, but if I'm telling you, if the Supreme Court comes out and says the tariffs are good to go, okay, strap on. I mean, it's going to be nuts.
But it will be it won't be as beautiful as it is right now.
Tim Scott, Senator Scott, is chairman of the Senate Banking Committee. He wants to get Kevin Warsh up and going for his hearings, and he wants to get him passed. But it's being blocked by Senator Tillis of North Carolina. But Tim Scott said, okay, Jay Powell, inept, no question about that. I think he's done more to undermine Fed independence in addition to his poor monetary decisions. But inept is not criminal. And so the question is, can the Justice Department settle the Jay Powell business so you can get on with the business of getting Kevin Warsh confirmed?
He's so bad that, interest rates should have been cut. We should be 2 points lower, right there, 2 points. But he's building a small little complex, very small. I just built a hotel not so long ago in Washington.
Right, it's the state.
Tiny fraction that's bigger than that, and bigger than that on Pennsylvania Avenue. And I built it for a tiny fraction of what they've spent. I'm building something right now in the White House, one of the greatest bulbs so desperately needed anywhere in the world for a fraction of what this guy's doing. So you have this little complex of a couple of buildings, and they're going to be close to $4 billion. $4 billion. It's the most expensive construction job ever built anywhere in the world per square foot. It's crazy. And they're either corrupt, which somebody's corrupt has to be, or grossly incompetent. Now, we know he's incompetent, but the question is he corrupt? They're spending, I would have been able to do that job for $25 million, and it would have been much better than what they're ending up with. What they've done to that place is unbelievable. I could have done that job, fully done it, and I'm good at this stuff, for $25 million. I think they're going to come in at $4 billion. So,
but sir, is it worth holding up the
Right,
Warsh
Josh.
nomination?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. I would be...
Buy American.
Look, I've been fighting Tillis for a long time, so much so that he ended up quitting. So let's see. If it happens, it happens. But Jeanine Pirro's doing it. I wasn't involved in it. Jeanine Pirro's doing it. She's very good. She's very strong. And we'll see how it happens. But Larry, when you're doing a job, I could have done the job for $25 million, much better. It would have been open 2 years ago. And they're going to be, I think they're going to be over $4 billion.
Good morning. Good morning.
$4 billion for a little thing. The most expensive in history per square foot. So, I don't know, something's wrong. And we can't let that happen either. You can't. Somebody got rich, I can tell you that.
EBT, no, it's not a job at all.
But it was maybe a contractor or somebody. They're pretty good at taking money.
Well, waste, fraud, and abuse is a big issue. It's a big political issue. I mean, it's a drain the swamp issue. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what's happened to Doge? And is there a chance of a Doge 2.0? You got over $200 billion of savings. The GAO and also Elon Musk thought it'd be $500-600 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. So a lot of people say this is a hot issue for the midterms, going after waste, fraud, and abuse. And that includes, of course, all the welfare, waste, fraud, and abuse, all the travesty of what's going on in Minneapolis. It's all of the piece. And is there a way of going after that this year?
Well, there is, and Doge really continues in a different form. The one thing I didn't like about Doge, I wanted to do it where a secretary would, like the VA, education, where she's doing great, he's doing great, by the way, both of them. But cut 10% of your payroll, cut your costs, in other words, be specific. When you cut, get rid of the people that are doing a lousy job, okay? In other words, take care of the people that are doing a good job. And I didn't want a general cut, but Doge was great. We cut it, we saved a lot of money. We've had a lot of really bad contracts where Stacey Abrams was given like $2 billion, I think, for some environmental, where she had $100 in the bank. And
remember our Citizen Robot,
different things like that. And I think that's in a certain way where it was, and we're still doing it. And one thing, our employment numbers are very good. But remember, we cut hundreds of thousands of people. I don't want to say it because it sounds so nasty, but it's not nasty. We have to make America great again, right? You don't do that by hiring all federal workers. We want them to be in the private sector. I've cut hundreds of thousands of jobs, and we still have good employment numbers. But if I want to have the greatest employment numbers you've ever seen, all I have to do is say I'm going to hire 500,000 people. That's what the Democrats
you want the private sector.
No, what happened is the people I cut are now working.
You got to put the hat on. Why not?
And they probably hated me when they lost their job, and now they love me. They're making twice the money.
You see, that's one of the things that the Democrats try to use against them, and they'll put out these numbers that so many people lost their jobs because, unfortunately, you got to cut the waste. If things are bloated, we just can't have government employees because we're just paying everybody so that you can keep your votes. And so much of what he's had to do is what any other CEO would do. You walk in, you look at the efficiency of a department, you see where it's bloated, you tell your different managers and directors, come back to me with the 10% cut across the board. Find me 10% that I can cut from your budget. And you'd be so surprised how easy it is to cut 10%. You could walk in and say, you know what, instead of doing color copies of everything, we're only going to allow black and white copies. You would be surprised how much that would cut from a huge company. There's no reason to come into a conference room with full color copies every time you want to give a presentation. Don't need it. And so many different things along the way that you can cut if you've got people who are competent enough to handle that.
So you're going to still go after the whole waste, fraud, and
Well, I
abuse
am
issue.
in Minnesota. Take a look at Minnesota. So we think it's at least $19 billion of fraud, medical, every fraud. Somalia has come in here. What they've done to our country, these people, they've come into our country, and what they've done with that fake congresswoman, she's so bad. No, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We have the best people maybe in the whole country looking at that. We're looking at California too, because California is worse. But if we find 50%, look, they've been robbing and ripping off this country
subscribe
for decades, right? If we find
But you guys be in the chat, subscribe. I'm a Trump supporter. You don't have to be. Just join the chat and enjoy what I show. That's all I ask.
We'll find that Minnesota is very corrupt.
Common sense.
California is very corrupt. A lot of states are very corrupt.
It just seems to me, in general here, writ large, if you abide by the immigration laws, stop all this sanctuary city business, that's the most affordable thing possible. You save, I look at what's happened in New York, okay? What Mayor Adams had to spend, he spent a fortune on
Thank you.
$12 billion.
Blessings. Let's grow together, everybody. Let's grow together.
Giving money away to illegals, many of whom are criminal illegals. It seems to me if those laws are upheld, if sanctuary cities, for example, are defunded, as you have talked about, Lindsey Graham has talked about, that's an affordability issue. There's huge savings there, and you can go after the waste, fraud, and abuse.
So Lindsey Graham is really hot on getting rid of sanctuary cities. I'm backing him 100%. Yeah. We got to do it. We're hot, and it's sort of the Security Act, you could call it, but we have to do it. Sanctuary cities are only good for people. It's sanctuary for criminals, okay? They are protecting criminals. Those states could hand those people over to us. Their crime would go down. We'd get them out of the country. They can't do what we can do. We can get them out of the country. They can't do it. but they're sanctuaries for criminals. They have they have killers, they have drug lords, they have Tren de Aragua all over the place. Now, with that being said, we have the strongest border in the history of our country. We have Democrat people giving us the statistics that no people have come into our country illegally in the last 8 months. Even I can't believe that totally, but I'll take it. But essentially, no people have come in. Nobody's coming through our border. They only come in legally. We've done an unbelievable job. Well, I don't think we've given any credit. One of the problems that I find in politics, so I got elected to a large extent on the border. I've done such a good job on the border that nobody wants to talk about it anymore. Like when I mentioned border, sir, they don't want to hear about it. You solved that problem. I don't get any credit for anything. I mean, I do these things. You would say I've done a great job with the border.
A lot of distractions.
Coming in,
a lot of distractions.
Strong border. Drugs are way down. You know, by knocking out those boats, we have dropped drugs, fentanyl about 33%. And now we're going to start on land. We had to do the boats first, because they would go immediately to the boats. If you hit them on land, they go to the boats. So we do the boats first. Now there are no boats. Now we're going to hit them on land. We're going to hit them very hard on land.
So I'm wondering what he's saying there. Is he saying he's going to put drones or something in Mexico, in Colombia, where this stuff is before it originates? He's going to blow it up? Was
Crazy.
that the conversation he had when the president of Colombia came over? And they're like, you're not shipping this stuff here anymore. We got rid of the boats. Now we're going to start taking you guys out one by one if you try to move stuff to our border. That's going to be very interesting.
Knock down drugs. Every one of those boats, it's nasty, but every one of those boats that shot down in the seas, you've been watching it, we saved 25,000 American lives. So we've done a great job. The problem is that I'm not sure that people see it. Maybe we have a public relations problem, because I don't know that we get it out the way it should, because I don't think anybody has had a more successful first year as a president than I have, with all of the things we did. And then in the previous administration,
right.
my first term, I rebuilt the military. And that's why we had Venezuela, tremendous success. As you know, we have a massive flotilla right now going over to...
Good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining the chat. Good morning.
They want to make a deal. I think they'd be foolish if they didn't. We took out their nuclear power last time, and we'll have to see...
Let's get it up. Let's get it up. Let's grow. Let's grow.
Deal with Iran with this current regime would ever really stick?
I don't know. I mean...
Or the kids can't write in cursive.
One thing.
They can't read an analog clock at all.
Anybody else, but they're talking to me. But
oh, yeah, Mark. Love America.
Question. A lot of people say no, and I would say that I'd rather make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. No nuclear weapons, no missiles, no this, no that, all the different things that you want. But some people worry that they've been very dishonest with us over the years, right? Very dishonest. Obama and Biden, what they did in terms of...
Thank you, Drew Picky, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That Iran nuclear deal was one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen.
So you've been very generous with your time. Just last question. Can you beat history on these midterm elections? Carry the House and the Senate for the GOP.
Thank you, Salty. Welcome to the club. Welcome.
Do you need more communication? Do you need more marketing?
Once again, I like Trump's policy. I believe in American first. My chance not to convince you guys to like Trump or anything. I'm just sharing information, and we can go and chat with that like we're doing now. If you're a bot, I'm going to block you, get you out of here. Other than that, we're having fun on the chat. Let's do it. Name is Deunta.
Do you need more help? I mean, the numbers are on your side. The question is, does the public know this?
Well, you know, we have a fake news that doesn't get the word out. That's why I love doing an interview. We get the word out. But
thank you, guys.
So let me ask you a question.
Blessings to everybody.
In 50 years, a president that won, even a popular president, somebody that's done well. I'm popular and I've done well. I mean, I think we have the greatest economy actually ever in history.
Thank you.
We broke 50 and we broke 7,000. They said I wouldn't do that for 4 years, and I did it in 1 year.
Right, God is great. God is in control.
We have to get the word out.
God is in control.
If we get the word out, we should win. The problem is that historically, 2 times the president's won in 50 years. 2 times. I don't
Yep,
know
I
what
stand
that
with
is.
ICE.
There's something down deep, psychological. And some of them were good presidents, and they still lost.
Yes, he
When a
is.
president wins Republican or Democrat, they lose the midterms. We're going
Democrats.
to change that. I hope. We're trying very hard. We're going to change it. We inherited a country that was going to die. We had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. That's said by everybody. We have the hottest country in the world. I guess I have to sell that because we should win in a landslide, and we'll do everything we can to do it.
Thank you for your time,
Thank
Mr.
you, Larry,
President.
very
You're
much.
most gracious.
Thank you very
You're most gracious.
So his closing message was, we should win in a landslide, but we got to get the word out.
Right.
Democrats are doing everything they possibly can to make sure the word doesn't get out. They're doing everything they can to obfuscate away from what President Trump is doing, which means we got to get the word out.
Because you hear Josh, make it hot.
Over my
That's what's
shoulder
up.
at the monitor here home, and I'm seeing
USA,
Fox
baby.
again. Jesse Waters, and now, I mean, it was first Laura, then Jesse Waters, and now, what's his name? Hannity. It's just wall-to-wall Guthrie kidnapping. That's it. Nobody's getting the word out. The Democrats are going to win the messaging because they're stepping all over it with this Epstein crap. I guess one and the same. And so, how do we win? We got to mobilize. We have to talk and over talk the crap that they're putting out.
Right.
He mentioned a lot of the fraud. I want you to hear this today by Josh Hawley.
Where is this money going? I mean, we know where some of it's going in Minnesota. It went overseas. It went to Somalia. It went to NGO fronts. We know where it's gone in some other states. California gave away billions of dollars to a pro-Hamas NGO. But $1 trillion nationally. Where's this money going to?
I appreciate that question because most people don't ask that question. It goes to terrorism. It goes to child trafficking. It goes to drugs. It goes to terrorism. And then it's used to purchase luxury items, cars, purses, homes. That's all funded by people like me that pay taxes.
So you're telling me that the electrician who goes to work every day and clocks in and works his butt off and tries to earn just enough to be able to, make his rent, maybe have a kid or two, put food on the table, his tax money is being used to buy other people luxury items, cars, yachts, whatever else, and is going to fund terrorism and child trafficking?
Yes, sir.
$1 trillion a year on this stuff?
$115 million an hour.
Did you hear that? Were you talking about pickles and food and you missed that? Maybe let me push that back because even I was like, you got to hear this in case you didn't hear it. Okay. Listen to this one more time.
On this stuff?
Trash Channel, what's up? Thank you for joining in.
They're wasting
How you doing, Mills? Thanks for joining the chat. Good morning.
$1 every 60 minutes.
You're watching Barry Cunningham.
115 million. 115 million. They are bleeding us dry by sending it to all these places. $115 million per hour.
And $15 million an hour. How do they get their hands on it?
Amazing.
What are we talking about here? Trends, national organizations,
Subscribe.
Get their hands on this money.
They take advantage of antiquated government systems and processes. They go into programs that they know elected and appointed officials won't touch, and they can steal at scale. And what happened really was during the pandemic, between the PPP loans and the unemployment insurance, they learned a really valuable lesson.
Come on, Bill Clinton.
Government never runs out of money, and the probability of getting caught is virtually zero. I have it.
That's the key. How did Richard Blumenthal make $100 million? How is AOC rich? How is Ilhan Omar rich? How is Rashida Tlaib? How are these people rich?
Right.
They can't get caught. They know the rules. And then they tell each other, just steal it.
Damn.
What do you mean just steal it? Won't I get caught? No, nobody's looking. And when he said that, immediately what I thought of was something we talked about last year. Wally the Nigerian. Remember what Wally was told? Pay every invoice and don't question it. If you get an invoice, pay it. Nobody was checking. Nobody was doing any verifying. Endless money's coming in. Just pay it. But it's not endless money. We're having to borrow from China. Well, we'll just keep borrowing. The debt ceiling. We'll raise the debt ceiling just so we can keep all this other stuff going.
At 0.1%.
So come back to the recommendations that you mentioned in your opening statement. What do we need to do to put a stop to this hemorrhaging of people's hard-earned money going overseas to finance child trafficking and luxury yachts? I mean, what needs to happen here?
It's really simple. It's used every single day in the commercial sector. Front-end identity verification, you just don't get to say, I am who I say I am. Second, recertification
$9 billion.
of all recipients. There is so much fraud right now in the benefit
Damn,
programs
that's a
all
lot of
across
money.
the country. We need to get a baseline. Third, this notion of a third-party independent audit. And finally, is involving federal law enforcement like the Secret Service to investigate it. The thing that people don't understand is that most of these beneficiaries, Senator, they're not real. They're fake. They're someone's stolen identity that is getting used in all 50 states.
I heard that and I went, oh, Lord. Oh. See, at some point, we got to rise up. Democrats won't even talk about this. Epstein. I don't give a shit about Epstein. What are you people doing to the country? Epstein's such a great thing for them to talk about because they don't want you talking about this. So I'm going to take a break here and we'll finish up. And what I'm going to, as I finish up, I want you to remember what you just saw President Trump do. And you saw his face, the aura of confidence that he had as he was talking. And it's not a long close that I have here, but it's enough for you to just look at the contrast. Look at the contrast of what you just saw versus what you're going to see. I'll be right back.
In one. Yes, sir. But I totally, this is the wrong type of question. I'll tell you what the wrong type of
actually,
thing
sir,
is.
it's the Holocaust Museum.
Reclaiming my time, sir.
If you want to
reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman.
Not the men and women.
Trump's been right about everything. And if you think about it, I really have.
Mr. Speaker, clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night. You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to say, here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others are all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower.
Good one, Mark.
On energy, on ending 8 wars, and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job, and I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people that we...
Subscribe, everybody. Subscribe.
Being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens.
Writing in a
Truth Social posts, quote, Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try and distract from our amazing victories. This latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats, just as all of the rest have.
To the Democrats, I say, be careful what you wish for.
It's not true. Tell me it's not true. It's true. You see, he admits it.
This morning, a new document coming to light claims in the mid-2000s, President Trump called police about Jeffrey Epstein. Among the 3 million Epstein files released by the Department of Justice last month is a 4-page FBI report on an interview the Bureau conducted in 2019 with the man believed to be former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder. Ryder and his detectives began investigating Epstein for human trafficking in 2004. According to the document, Trump called Ryder around that time and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Ryder also says Trump said he threw Epstein out of his club, and he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Trump got the hell out of there.
Oh,
The former police chief says Trump told him to focus on Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, saying she is evil.
just I think I'm gonna have to hand this off. Yeah. Sorry. That does it for us tonight?
Trump has long denied having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, but Ryder says Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein.
It's my honor to do it.
Thank you, Jigger. Thank you. Thank you.
You're being Jackie, don't bite yourself. Come on.
Jackie.
So, if I'm guilty of anything, it's that I've been a great president, and the Democrats don't like it, which is a shame.
Women of Vice that are out there doing it every day. So to say it to men and women of Vice, they can
Mr.
stop
Chairman,
us.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Subscribe, everybody. Subscribe. Why not? Thank you, guys.
He was unnecessarily speaking.
You asked me a question. I think I should be able to answer the question you asked me. He's unnecessarily speaking. Oh my gosh. Unnecessarily.
Right.
Oh my goodness. He answered the question.
Thank you.
And that's unnecessarily speaking. I didn't know your 5 minutes was a soliloquy.
Once again, I'm just sharing information. I'm not saying it's truth or not. I'm just sharing it.
Now let's talk about
Thank you, guys. Thank you for subscribing. The likes. Thank you.
Howard Lutnick knew Jeffrey Epstein was evil.
You know who this guy is, right? Ted Lieu should never point a finger at anybody.
Yeah, let them come. Come on, trolls.
About Teddy Boy here that are floating around. And if you saw some of the pictures that Teddy is in, you're like, oh my gosh. Go ahead and search Ted Lieu and dog mask and see what you come up with. Don't do it around kids. Maybe not do it around your wife or your husband, but you can search Ted Lieu, Lieu, and dog mask and see what comes up.
Read you some of what Howard Lutnick said in his own words. He called Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
They punching the air right now. What up, Critical? Thanks for joining the chat. Good morning.
Epstein's house, Epstein showed him a space to, quote, get a massage. Lutnick said they get a massage. That's what his MO was. Get a massage. And I assume that was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever, blackmailed people. That's how he had money. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And Epstein says, and the right kind of massage. This then caused Lutnick to say to the American people in an interview, quote, we'll never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Well, guess what? The Epstein Files new release shows that not only did Howard Lutnick lie to American people, he went into business with Jeffrey Epstein. He visited Epstein Island.
and Howard Lutnick did this knowing how evil Epstein was. Lutnick also lied to American people. And really the real reason he should resign, he's just like one of the most politically stupidest cabinet members I've ever seen.
Good one, Salty. Good one.
Entire argument and throws it in the trash. You might have got some people to lean in and listen. But if you were so confident that what you were saying was true, then you wouldn't have had to say what you said then.
Right.
Because at that point, everybody goes,
Subscribe, everybody. Thank you.
He knew this stuff was in the Epstein files. And yet he goes and gives an interview where he makes up these lies, knowing it's going to come back and hurt him.
Number 6.
The Republican election bills being considered are a direct attack on dissent of current Republican policies on married women, women who build careers, led companies, serve in Congress, and yes, women like me who got married and changed their names.
If you truly felt that way, that it was so tough when you got married and changed your name, would you have to read? I could get up there.
Yep, I agree. Democrat administration.
Birth certificate, and then I had to get a driver's license or a passport, and then I had to go over here and show them my name change, and then like an hour later they gave me the ID. It was really tough. I didn't need to read anything. Again, I'm only showing this to you because the contrast
good morning.
of somebody who feels so strong and spirited about America succeeding to the arguments that these people are making that does nothing for America.
Number 5.
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought to the floor for a vote this week. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to support the SAVE Act?
Not at all. It's a terrible idea. This notion that we want to put more obstacles in the paths of voters is just what Donald Trump wants. Fewer people voting. I want every legal citizen in America to be able to vote without obstacles.
Do you think requiring an ID to vote in elections is making it harder? I mean,
it's more than that. It's more than an ID. It's proof that you were born in America. So what are we talking about? A passport, a birth certificate? Got one of those handy with you in your purse? I doubt it.
Well, if you're going to the voting poll and you know what you need to bring, I mean, it's just one of those documents, right?
Well, just one of those documents. Think about
securing your birth
certificate before you go in to vote. Why are we creating these obstacles? We have the.
Anybody want to tell him that the next vote is in November? 9 months away? You don't even understand having to go secure your birth certificate and something.
Right, got plenty of time.
How hard is it that 9 months from now,
9 months.
To get it? We're not saying today you have to have it. We're not saying next week. We're not saying next month that you have to have your ID. We're saying you got to have an ID in 9 months. The insult that they're perpetrating on women, blacks, Hispanic, you can't even find a way to get an ID in 9 flipping months.
Most incidents of fraud and misuse of voting in the world, and Donald Trump wants to put more obstacles in the path of voters. I want everybody legally entitled to vote to have that option without complications.
Thank you very much.
If you want everybody legally to have the option to vote, hey, Dickie, how do you prove they're legal? By your own statement. I want every legal person to be able to vote. Well, how would you prove it?
Damn.
You said it. Your words. She should have nailed them right back. How do we verify that they're legal?
Critical. I don't get it either. It's redacted for a reason.
One thing that Speaker Pelosi did when she was in that post was try to hold Trump accountable. You mentioned the word subpoena. She certainly, when the Dems had the House in his first term, used it. There were impeachment proceedings as well. Are those things that you would support for the president?
Absolutely. We've seen criminal behavior on a level and corruption on a level that we've never seen before in American history.
This guy, I believe it's Jack. This is Jack Schlossberg. And Jack is JFK's
It is an
grandson.
insult to tell somebody black that can't get an
Make
ID.
him a cousin of RFK Jr. And Mr. Schlossberg here not only is running for office, and Nancy Pelosi has endorsed him, but he says we need to do an impeachment and do everything all over again.
And unless Democrats win back the House and we investigate those crimes, then it's all going to go unanswered. And we cannot let that be the standard. I'm so proud to have Speaker Pelosi endorse our campaign. She's a hero of mine.
Anytime somebody says that Nancy Pelosi is a hero, you really have to think twice about them. So the reason I included that is because here's the new blood coming in and running for Congress. He's running in New York, which I find it odd that one of the biggest capitalist families in the world is running for an office in New York that has a socialist commie as a mayor. Make that make sense. It doesn't. And his crown jewel isn't communism, because he can't possibly run on communism being a Kennedy. His crown jewel is, let's throw Trump back in jail. That's not confidence. That's fear.
Number 3.
And again, criminals act with that total disregard for the law, and we continue to see it. You would both have us talk about respect for your mission and your agents, but your agencies are unaccountable, paramilitary forces, and I have just as much respect for you as I do for the last white men who put on masks to terrorize communities of color. I have no respect for the...
What?
You understand what you just said there, right? You have a sitting member of Congress who just said and compared the ICE and CBP people to the KKK. I got as much respect for you as I did for the KKK.
Wow. And ICE is mixed.
People are evil. And the reason why they're evil is they have nothing to discuss. There's nothing that they're talking about positively for America. Everything that they say, every chance they get in front of a microphone is about destroying America.
Inheritors of the Klan Hood and the Slave Patrol. Those activities were immoral then and criminal, and so are yours. And that brings me to you, Mr. Edlow.
This is what we have to look forward to. This is why the SAVE Act has to pass. You're looking into a crystal ball. These people are going to wreak havoc on America. They will wreak havoc on me. They will wreak havoc on you. You got one guy talking about 15% growth, and you got another group saying you're KKK-ish.
Amazing.
I'm not going to speak on behalf of President Trump, but I'll tell you, I signed up for this job to protect America, and I'm very proud of the service that I provide, and I don't need a pardon from...
It's just a video clip. It's a video clip that went viral with a couple of Karens calling a black ICE agent the N-word. You know what I'm saying? Calling the nigga. So really amazing.
Anybody?
Well, you better hope so. You better hope you get being pardoned, because you will be held accountable for...
He actually brought that sign to a hearing. He brought it to the hearing so he could let you know he's upset with you. And this guy, again, we're looking at another foreigner who they put in office, is telling the good men of CBP and ICE, I ain't coming for you. You know this, right? Yes, you better hope you get departed.
For the absolute disregard of the law your agencies have shown over the past year. Your agencies have lost the trust of the American people.
Actually not. Unless you're looking at somebody else's polls. I won't name any names.
Yep, Jason. Yep.
Most of America we've seen.
Subscribe. Like good morning.
90% are like, get them out. They completely ignore what the American people want because it doesn't jive with what they want. And you better get departed.
Millions taking to the streets to protect the illegal actions of your agencies. And that's why I introduced a bill in the United States Congress to abolish ICE. ICE must be abolished. I also co-sponsored a bill to impeach Secretary Kristi Noem.
And I believe Kristi Noem must be impeached. And this Congress must
make it stop. Just tell him you're right. You got me. Just make this guy stop talking, okay? Make him stop. Just nod saying I agree with you. Okay? But reclaim your time, okay? Just go to the next person, okay? Can we do that?
do everything in his power to carry out oversight actions against these rogues departments, including if
Gentleman's time is expired.
Cut them off.
It's painful to watch these people. Now, that's why what you're seeing right now is why the SAVE Act must be passed. It has to be. These people get back in power again, we're toast. They're telling you, we're going to do everything we can to destroy this country.
Good afternoon. I'm sure you've already heard from the Democrats, so
almost 3 hours in, you guys. Thank you guys for being in the chat with me. Almost 3 hours in. Thank you.
Fund the 2026 Department of Homeland Security Appropriations bill. It's the only one left. We've got 96% of the government funded, but the DHS bill, as you know, represents not only Border Patrol and ICE, but also FEMA and the Coast Guard and TSA, cybersecurity, a whole bunch of things that are really important to the American people. And so our view is we need to try and get this last bill across the finish line. And I think there have been some really productive conversations around that between Republicans and Democrats, between the White House and Democrats here in the Senate. One thing Republicans are not interested in, obviously, is making it harder, not easier, for dangerous, illegal aliens in this country to be detained and deported. We do believe in making it easier, not harder, for law enforcement officials to do their job. So those are things that we are focused on in these conversations. But I think it's fair to say that there have been good faith efforts. The Democrats, they didn't finally get text available until just this weekend. The White House is now responding to that. And I think it's important that we allow those conversations to go forward and see if there might be a path toward getting an outcome that would fund the Department of Homeland Security until the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th. So it's I would say again, it's a work in progress, but I would hope that the Democrats here in the Senate, if it takes more time, which I believe it will, would be amenable to allowing us to get an extension of the continuing resolution to allow
I stand with ICE.
Negotiations to continue. As you all will recall, we made it very clear at the outset that we thought the amount of time they allocated toward this wasn't nearly going to be sufficient, and clearly it's not. But I do think that based upon the progress that's being made toward getting to a result and a conclusion, we ought to allow some additional time in order to make that happen. So again, these are important agencies of the American people, all of which need to be funded. And these federal employees at TSA and other agencies shouldn't be held hostage by the Democrats in potentially another government shutdown. So the best way to avoid that is to strike a deal. And I think that means we got to keep people at the table.
I disagree. Stop saying you want to strike a deal. Run it down these people's throats. And the way to do that is to nuke the filibuster. Already tonight, Lisa Murkowski says she doesn't want to vote for the SAVE Act. Waiting for Mitch McConnell, waiting for Susan Collins to do the same thing. So there's no way you're going to get to 60. 60 is a pipe dream. Never going to happen. On a slam dunk issue like having to show voter ID, we're having to beg people to do the right thing. Lisa Murkowski is a scum woman from Alaska. She doesn't want people to have to show ID to vote. So from a 53 to 47 difference, now it's 52 to 48. And if Mitch McConnell says no, then we're down to 51 to 49. And then if Susan Collins says no, then we're at 50-50. If you nuke this filibuster, if we're not going to do something about the filibuster, none of this even matters.
Right. Subscribe.
The only way this gets passed is if somehow they stop the filibuster. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. The Democrats are going to be 100% against it, and then some of the Republicans are going to vote against it as well. And for me, when I look at what these Democrats are saying and how they're acting, they're making it pretty clear what their intentions are. Hopefully, that 50-50 goes back to 51, because I think Fetterman will vote for it. And so, but none of it matters if we don't get the filibuster taken care of. Let's see here. Yeah, Fetterman is on board, exactly. They just need to follow Trump's lead. And I don't know why they don't. I don't know what kind of things they've done. Mitch McConnell, he says, what?
The video almost over with. I'll be back tomorrow morning and Saturday evening. Other than that, I appreciate you guys so much. Let's grow together. Thank you. Name's Deunta.
And I don't even know where Mitch McConnell is. I have to wheel him in. Crazy. Yes, Fetterman did say Fetterman is on board. Absolutely. So we'll lose one and we get one. Murkowski goes away, we get Fetterman. So that could work. Yeah, we don't want to hear hope, as Eric says. Don't want to hear hope. Just do it. And I haven't heard them talk much about they're going to go ahead and do something about the filibuster. I don't want to.
Bud Russell, what's up, man? Good morning. Chilling, man.
What deal? They don't have anything we want.
It's a bright Wednesday out here in Rockford. Nice and sunny out here.
Uprising. Mitch McConnell is for the SAVE Act? Well, that would be fantastic. That would definitely be fantastic. Did I know that Fulton is not for the SAVE Act? President Trump keeps applauding him, so I think he's giving him time to do it. Somebody said Mitch McConnell is in the hospital, and also by him being in the hospital, they can't even vote. They don't have.
That's one today. Okay, that's what's up.
Why that guy didn't quit, I have no idea. Throw them out and reintroduce the bill if it fails.
It's 28 degrees in Rockford. Well, 28 degrees.
We've heard enough about hope and change. Actually, yeah. And like Tina says, no freaking deals. No deals. I hope we can cut a deal. I don't want a deal. I want you to ring. I don't think these people understand. Given the opportunity to ram it down our throats, you get these people back in power, they're not going to be looking to cut any deals. We're being governed by weak people in the House and Congress. I mean, Mike Johnson, he might have something to say. I'm not really sure. Tina says, no deals, no negotiation. Crazy. SB says that Mitch is in the hospital with flu-like symptoms. Over the weekend, his office described it as a precautionary move and an abundance of caution. One of he checks out. Who knows? Somebody said McConnell is still talking about running again. Let's see. Murkowski, Collins, McConnell, and Thune were said to be no's earlier today. Unreal. All right. So let me do super chats. And then tomorrow, like I said, Pam Bondi is due to testify tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I'll turn that on because that will probably be quite the bombastic hearing for sure. We'll watch some of that, and then we'll plan the rest of the show for the rest of the day once we know what's going on with Pam Bondi and everybody else that's going to be going on. All right, let me do this and move that over. And here we go. And move this up here. All right. Make it.
All right, you guys, about 3 hours in. I will go a bit longer, but it's time to eat. Join the wife. I thank you guys. Like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow morning and Saturday evening. Thank you. God bless.